So we're live on shorts as well. All right, let's start off on the weekly. I'm getting a lot of questions on how I do my analysis, how do I do my key levels, where do I get my key levels from, and you can essentially see how I get my key levels. Right, everything starts off. I take the higher time frame, all the time frames into consideration to paint a picture. So I want a mental picture in my mind, right? A mental picture of what's going on, what's the landscape. I want to have that picture in my mind. I'm not using that picture to make minute by minute decisions. I'm just having that picture in the back of my mind. I have it in some compartment to give me an idea of where we are overall. By minute, I can be going against the market. I can be going with the market. I can be in the direction of the trend, going against the trend, because I'm just trading reactions from 1 to 5 minutes. So hopefully that clarifies some of the questions I've been getting. But anyways, on the weekly, we'll start on the weekly. This SPY. So SPY is above that 9, SPY is above the 20, SPY is above that 50, SPY is above that 200. What does that tell us? We are clearly in an uptrend. On the weekly, we're directional. We take out that weekly upside breaker. That means now we have a good shot of pushing into that 597.37, which is that weekly upside target, right? 597.31, we'll get the exact level, right? But roughly around that 597.31.30 territory, that's that weekly upside target. So we're directional on the weekly. That means we took out the previous week's highs. So we have that continuation going on. It's just a continuation. So two things can happen here. We can lose enforcement, get back to that 50% retrace, and bounce off it, and continue to hold enforcement, and continue to hold direction and reclaim enforcement. Or we can fall below the 50% retrace and potentially look to seek these lows. In that case, that 50% retrace, anytime we take out, right, this is something I want you guys to make note of. Anytime you take out a high of any previous candle, any time frame, or if you take out the low, the opportunity is going to lie when price comes back to the 50% retrace, because now it's decision time. Decision time in a sense, it's either going to bounce off that 50% retrace and continue to do what it's doing, or it's going to reverse the entire move and potentially go 3 down or 3 up and go engulfing. Okay, so very, very important to understand that. So again, we're directional to the upside on the weekly. Bulls are in control on the weekly. On the daily, look at that. So the exact same thing happened on what I just talked about a few minutes ago. Right, yesterday we opened up near the daily downside breaker. So we were directional to the downside. We got above the 50% retrace. You saw, if you're watching live, we got above the 50% retrace. Once we got above it, we got above that daily upside breaker, which coincided with that weekly upside breaker, and that's why we want 3 up. That's where we went 3 up. So the exact thing happened. So what's happening is here, whenever we open up near the lows, whenever we take out the previous day's lows, we quickly get buyers stepping in and pushing it back up all the way into the previous day's highs. So what that means is there's a ton of buyers sitting right at the previous day's lows, right? So they're letting it get sold off, and if it gets to those previous day's lows, they're picking it right back up. How do we know this? Evidence, piece of evidence 1, piece of evidence 2. So if it happens again, does it mean it's going to happen? It's going to happen again, right? If the opportunity presents itself again, does it mean the buyer's going to do the same thing? We'll just have to see. We'll see what kind of price action we get. So on the daily, we're directional to the upside. We went 3 up. You can see how close we are to those all-time highs, right? We're making our way to those all-time highs. We're above that 9. So a healthy pullback to that 9 at some point in time will come into play. But right now, we have a lot of strength here. This week, we have no catalyst for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Wednesday. So no catalyst for those 3 days. So I highly doubt, unless we get some sort of headline or some sort of tweet, that we even come back to this 9. We're just probably going to grind higher or chop around. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So directional on the weekly, directional on the monthly, directional on the daily. Now let's zoom into the hourly. Okay, the hourly. Right. Before we do a deep dive on the technicals, I want to bring to your attention the other indexes as well. Right. Let's bring to your attention the other indexes. So we can see the Qs here. Right. The Qs now, although we're making those moves in both directions, we're making those swings, we're essentially range bound. Right. Granted, there's a massive range, but we're essentially range bound, and the Qs are sitting right under this resistance zone up here. Right under it. We got into it yesterday. We rejected off it. We're still above the 50. The 9 crossed back above that 20 on the Qs. Same thing on SPY. We cross above the 9, cross back above that 20. We're trading between that 9 and that 20. We're still directional to the upside. The intraday trend is still intact. Same thing with the Dow, right? So all the indexes are essentially doing the same thing. The only one that's lagging behind and hasn't reclaimed that daily 200 yet is the IWM. So if you're trading IWM, right, it's having a tough time even reclaiming that 200 on the daily. Okay, so this is the game plan for today. If we continue to trade between these two moving averages, right? If we continue to trade between the two moving averages, we can create separation away from that 9 and that 20. More than likely, we're going to continue to push side to side, right? If we can expand above that 9, continue to push higher, reclaim that previous day's close, and form some sort of trend, maybe get above that pre-market high, then we have a good shot at taking out those previous day's highs, that daily upside breaker, right? So that's basically what's going on. That's basically what I'm seeing as of now. But we're kind of in the middle of those moving averages, so I'm really interested to see what takes place on the indexes. So now let's do the deep dive as far as what we see on SPY, the bread and butter. So again, SPY, we saw yesterday, this was the sell-off we saw. We came into these lows, reclaimed that 50. Once we reclaimed that 50, just a rocket ship all the way into those highs. Once we got to those highs, we closed above that 590. I think we closed above that 595, if I'm not mistaken. We closed at that 594.93. We closed above that weekly upside breaker. Once we did that, we pushed lower, gap down, and now we're right here. Okay, so the primary areas you want to keep your entries near, or potential opportunities can appear, are associated with these moving averages, associated with that 595, and associated with this 50, that 50 EMA. Those are the three primary areas where we can gauge some opportunities or look for opportunities. If we just stay between, I have a fear that we might stay between these moving averages during first shift, between that 9 and that 20, and maybe be range bound between that pre-market high, pre-market low, right? That this will be that pre-market high, pre-market low. If we're just range bound in this territory, guys, we're gonna start taking those rejections and those bounces, playing the double tops, triple tops, rejections off of resistance, bounces off support, right? Double bottom, triple bottoms. So think of it like that, all right? If we're range bound, we'll look for something else. If we're expanding, we'll look for something else, simply put. Okay, so that's where we are on the hourly. On the VIX, look where the VIX was. Again, this dump that we saw yesterday was a perfect window for SPY to make that nice run. Like we talked about, if we break below that 1925, 1940, we broke below it and it just took place. And that nice run during first shift took place. A lot of you took advantage. So today, where are we? So today, the VIX is not making a massive move. Today, the VIX is jammed between this 1780, 1795, and this 1850. So back to being in a tight range. So same rules apply. Same rules apply. If we continue to trade in this range here, right, let's outline that box. More than likely, we're going to have to look for those rejections and those bounces off support, rejections off resistance. If we can expand outside of this range, we'll look for something else. Right, but really important to understand, if we're going to get that expansive move to the upside, we're going to have to break below here, okay? If we want that continued move to the upside, make an attempt at maybe getting into the previous day's highs and getting holding above that 595, right, for a decent amount of time, more than likely we're going to have to slide into the 1780, 1795, break below here, and continue to pursue that 1719, right? In that scenario, that's going to open up the door for a potential push, possibly into 600 if we're above 595. Okay, if we curl back to the upside, if we come into this territory, curl back up to the upside, then we'll look for those rejections of those highs. So if we're in any key levels, we'll look for those rejections back to the downside. So same thing applies on the other side. Okay, so on the key levels for today, this is where we are, guys. In the pre-market, we're going to open up inside the previous day's range. That daily upside breakers at 595.54. Weekly upside breakers at 594.50. At pre-market lows at that 592.92. 592.82. At pre-market highs at that 594.40. And those things can change. But the biggest takeaway up until this point is more than likely we're going to gap down a little bit. Maybe a tiny gap down. Maybe a baby gap down. And we're going to open up inside the previous day's range, right under that 594.50. Okay, the 50% retrace at that 591.81. That M1, that BOG from yesterday. Remember, we filled the gap yesterday. We can take that off, or we can leave that on. That is still a key level. I like to leave it on there. It's right there at that 589.04, and that 588.09 is there as well. But if we do see some sort of sell-off, right, this would be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bounce, right? You know how much I love that yearly open. The yearly open has already compensated me 3 times. So the yearly open in conjunction with that weekly 50% retrace, this can come into play sometime this week. I like that there, okay? Likelihood of us getting there, probably not there today. We have no catalyst, but be mindful of that and be mindful of those levels. As far as the channel that we're trading in, okay, we're trading in this channel, support, 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 resistance, resistance, resistance. We're on the top half of that channel. So naturally, we're going to continue to respect this channel, right? If this is going to be deemed resistance, or this recent push into these highs of resistance, right? If you want to catch a push into this support, you can play that pre-market low break, right? Break and hold below that pre-market low. You have room into that 591.81 or that 591.81, slide into that 589.99. So approach it that way. Very systematic approach. So very important for us to pay attention to those levels. All right, so we're about 3 minutes out from the open. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any chart requests, we have a couple minutes. Good morning, Om. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Thesis. If you have any chart requests, we can go over it real quick. We have about 3 minutes left. Again, guys, going into today, right? What happened yesterday stays yesterday. Don't let the euphoria impact the way you're looking at the markets. Don't have those false expectations. Just take it for what it is. Oh, my bad, guys. There you go. You should be able to get into the Google Meets now. All right, so take it for what it is. See profit, take profit. The only time you can start really holding is when the VIX is expanding. Okay, just pay attention to that. Yesterday on my end, I took a lot of repositioning trades. So today I'm trying to keep it clean. Keep it clean. Try to do less. Less is more. Less is more today. Less is more today. Again, we have no catalyst. So if we do get any breaking news, you guys do a great job of updating the Discord. Let me know if we have any press conferences you want to listen to or any surprise announcements. You guys want that coverage, right? It's going to be purely dependent on if you guys provide the link in the chat. If you provide the link in the chat, all right. So I'll put it up here and we can watch it as well as as I provide commentary. Okay. So we're going to open up. It looks like we're going to open up slightly gap down, and we're going to open up inside that pre-market high, pre-market low range. So again, guys, what happened yesterday stays in yesterday. What happens today stays in today. Focus on the present. Don't have any bias coming into the day. Have an idea of what's going on the higher time frames, but don't let that seep in to your intraday scalping. Okay, just see the charts. What do the charts tell you? What does the VIX tell you? What does the hourly tell you as far as trend is concerned? And use those 3 things in conjunction with the setups you look for to make the best decisions and identify the best opportunity. Unfortunately, we can't take every opportunity. Okay, so we have to just take the best ones. We have to identify the best ones, allocate risk, manage risk, and let the probabilities play out. Okay, we want to keep it as simple as possible today, right? And if the trade is not there, I'll do my best not to get involved in the trade. At the same time, it is a show. At the same time, we want to take trades, but if there's nothing there, right? If there's nothing high probability, right? Then I'll let you guys know. If there's something high probability, I'll let you know as well. Okay. So let's continue on the positive momentum from yesterday and dominate today. How do I join the Google Meets? So the way you join the Google Meets is here. So go to the trading live trading video. Live trading video right there. It's also in the chat. Let me know if you got in. Okay, we are officially open, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Gap down. Gap down. Gap down to kick things off. We're trading slightly below, not below, but right above that pre-market low. So we're going to mark that gap, TOG, BOG. You know the drill. Right, BOG, let that settle in. So when we gapped up yesterday, what took place? When we gapped down yesterday, what took place? Okay, so wherever this candle closes, where my BOG is going to be. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Again, go over your game plan. Go over your game plan. Review the things you're looking for. Review your setups. All right, there's a good time. The 15-minute orb played out beautifully yesterday. The 15-minute orb played out beautifully. If you trade the 15-minute orb, wait your 15 minutes. And I always say the best part of the 15-minute orb is not the strategy itself, but the fact that you have to wait 15 minutes. And that alone protects you so much. Okay, that alone protects you so much. Okay, so if you don't have any setups during the first handful of minutes, don't touch it. Just watch it. Okay. So this TOG is yesterday's top of the gap. Although we filled it, I'll leave it there. It's at May 19th. May 19th TOG. We did fill that gap. So the session lows before the open for the VIX is right there. I wouldn't be surprised if we're range bound today, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if we're range bound. So you might have to reduce your targets. Reduce your targets, tighten up your targets, tighten up your stops. We're moving 60 cents off the open per 5-minute candle. Let me bring this here. Okay, if we do break that pre-market low aggressively, if we can hold below it, that retest can be available. We have a nice void to the downside for that slide this way. If we get above that BOG, we have a nice runway from that 593.59 to that 594.14. Okay, so that's some things we want to identify. Paying close attention to that hourly as well. How does that hourly, right? How do we interact with this 20? How do we interact with that 20? Were you able to get in the Google Meet, Precious? Let me know. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Episode 51. SPY just opened up, second day consecutive gap down. Yesterday we gapped down, we filled that gap. It took us about 3 or 4 shifts to fill that gap. Right, so basically more than half the day. Today we gapped down, let's see if we can, the same thing kind of take place. And if it does, we'll see how long it takes before it does fill. If it doesn't fill, the tail will be that 50% retrace. Okay, the tail will be that 50% retrace. Okay, once we get above that 593.59, that's going to be our first attempt at that gap fill. First attempt. So this is a classic case, or this is what a range bound day looks like. When you're within the previous day's range and you're within the pre-market high and low, right? So as soon as you see that, or as soon as we're in those kind of conditions, right off the bat, you know price is potentially going to be range bound. Okay, so make note of that. If we open up within the previous day's highs and lows, within the pre-market high and low, we don't violate any of those levels. Anything within those levels, right, will signify that we are range bound in a put. Okay, we're below VWAP 2 here on both the VWAPs actually. If we do play the breakdown, maybe you can do it like this, 50-cent risk, solely based off that key level. I like how the VIX is starting to pick up some steam. Right. We're below both VWAPs. We have a pretty decent runway into that 50% retrace on the daily. We can, if you want to reduce your risk, you can make it between that 592.82 and that daily open. So once we reclaim that daily open, more than likely it wants to push back higher. So just give it a little bit of wiggle room and make that 30. Okay, so that probably will be the first setup to the downside I'll look to entertain. So in this case, do you want to play the break? Do you want to play the break and hold? Do you want to play the retest? Those things are the decisions you want to be making, right, on your own. Sometimes the break pays off. Sometimes the retest pays off. Sometimes the break leads to a temporary bounce. So it just really depends. It really depends. So I'm looking to see if I can get that break down there. Right. If we can get a close below, if we can stay above that 593.08 on the hourly, which is at 20, that's encouraging to the downside. Booked profits and put, hold and runner. Great job, Incot. Great job. We're below both VWAPs. What we tend to see in this case is we saw it a ton of times last week. Is we see like a small accumulation break. The beautiful thing is if you guys go back and watch the opening during first shift, every episode of the opening, you can literally see what took place before. Right? You can just build your strategy based on what price looked like. Pause the video, play the video, and see how price action played out during that time. So you have basically first shift, second shift, third shift, and fourth shift to really do price studies on. You have 50 episodes of that. Okay, so very important to take advantage of that, guys. Okay, let's see if we can continue rejection off that VWAP. If anyone took that rejection off that VWAP, beautiful. Good morning, Nico. All right, nice accumulation break. Looking at the 593s. Okay, see if I can get a break and hold. That'd be great. On the 5. I like how we're showing weakness on the hourly as well. If the VIX can show some strength here, that'd be great. Just to show a little bit of strength. See if I can take it there. All right, early entry. Did I get filled? Okay, got filled. Already down 12%. So I have to get rid of that immediately. I took some time to get filled. Stopped out 15%. So you can see, by the time I got filled, it filled me here. It took some time to get filled. Stopped out 15%. Right. So in this case, maybe waiting would have been the better protocol. Right. Instead of trying to get that early breakdown. So stopped out here. Within just seconds. Right. And that was just based on that poor entry. So if you're waiting for that break did not take place. If you're waiting for the orb, we still have 6 minutes. Morning, Matt. I took some time to get filled. It took me a couple of seconds to get filled, and when it did, it was down. So we're above VWAP 1. Let's see if we can reclaim VWAP 2. So in that case, I can't even sit through anything, right? So it's very important if you don't get those good fills, guys, and you're already at your stop, as soon as you enter, unfortunately, you're just going to have to cut it. You're just going to have to deal with that, all right? You're going to have to deal with that. Good morning, George. Make sure to join the Discord, everyone on YouTube. Take advantage of the May offer. Right, we're live there as well. You get access to a ton of resources. And like the video. Like the video. If you're a first-time viewer, let us know where you're joining from. So nice bounce off that 592.82. If you did the opposite, use that level as a bounce. Right, manage accordingly. So don't be surprised if we're range bound. Again, just continue to manage risk. You might want to chop things around here. I'll mark out that 15-minute orb. That 15-minute orb. I'm looking to take the same thing if we can break and hold. So if we can break and hold, I'll look to take the same thing. See if I can take it there. Okay, filled. Now I want to see if I can get that break and hold. Okay, we're starting to see some nasty wicks there, down 6%. If we get back above that daily open, I have to close it. Still in the position. I have a 10% leash on it, down 5, down 6. So second attempt. I'm gonna get rid of it right there. Stopped out 7%. Don't like the way this candle is looking. I don't want it to explosively push higher. So I'll get stopped out at 7%. If we break, again, I'll give another attempt, guys. I'll give it another attempt. I'm just not getting good entries. So entries today are going to be critical. The VIX is showing strength. Your entry is going to be critical. So wait for the retest. Retest might be the best way to approach it. Super choppy. Gonna wait for a retest. Yeah, retest is the best way to approach it, guys. Right, stopped out 15% here within 5 seconds, essentially. Stopped out 7% there. Right, so still managing risk. Still managing risk. So clean entries are gonna be critical today. If you're doing the opposite, if you're using this level 592.82 as a bounce, right? Make sure you're locking in profit. The thing is, we're still below both VWAPs. We're trading slightly above that 20, so if we can get a close below that 20, that'll be encouraging. That's what's probably giving us some hard time here. Right, VIX is showing some strength, so that there can be a potential downside move. I know that can potentially play out. So that's a good cut there for 7%. Okay, that's that orb low as of now. So that orb low lines up nicely with that 592.82. And that orb high is at 593.63. So ugly price action off the open. On the 5-minute, we can see we're going sell block. And look at that daily candle up to this point. So retest might be the way. Retest might be the protocol. Paying attention to this 5-minute candle sell block. I want this to be a little more full body. We haven't had that close below that 592.82 yet. We haven't had that clean close. We're getting below it on the 1, but wicking out. Getting below it on the 1, wicking out. Okay. So clean break, hold, retest would be the best way to gauge your entries. See if we get that continued selling here. Want that clean break and hold. Good morning, Amy. I'm paying attention to this 5. What's encouraging to the downside is we're below both VWAPs. If we get that close below that 592.82, right? We'll get that close below that 593.06 on the 20. We have 15 minutes left on that candle on the hourly. That would be great. We just need continued strength on the VIX. Continue to build that momentum to the upside. So that this runway is still valid, but it's just the entry. So if you're trying to enter a trade, you keep getting stopped out, but it's still valid, right? Just make sure you're respecting your stops and not sitting through all this drama. I promise you, it will pay off. Because this pop right here was down 15%. So if it popped all the way up there, you're probably down 25%. All right, so very choppy, guys. Very choppy now. We are inside this range right here. 15-minute orb is set. 15-minute orb is set. So this corresponds with that 15-minute orb breakdown to the downside. Inside on the 5. It looks like we're going to be chopping for first shift. Okay. Looks like we're going to be chopping for first shift. How are we looking, guys? Anyone take any trades or sitting on the sidelines? So nothing high quality. Nothing high quality up until this point. If you're able to squeeze anything during these conditions, right, you must be a sniper. Holding, great job. Not taking any trades. Yeah, there's a mess. Sitting until we break that orb. Okay. So it looks like we're coming into it now. We need that clean close, clean close. And these candles are very jumpy. If you notice, they're very erratic. Erratic and jumpy. So what I would want in this situation is a decisive move lower, a retest, and then we can take that. Or a break and hold below that, below this level. Okay, starting to break down here. Okay. See if you can pull back a little bit. So that the time I take the breakdown, it doesn't break down. VIX is starting to spike here. See if you can pull back a little bit. Get that retest. If you took that breakdown, if you're a patient, if you stuck to your guns, that thing is paying out right now. Anyone take that? Beautiful. Right. This is what I was looking for. Well, it was just a little too early to the party. A little too early to the party. Man, look at that breakdown. Right, you're seeing it here first, guys. Beautiful breakdown. So that's that nice close there. Nice close below that level. Right, so it bounced, and finally broke. Trading is going to test your patience, guys. It's going to test your patience. So we have that clean runway. Right, so the trade idea holds up. But it's just, where did you decide to engage? That'll determine your results. Anyone catch that? If we can push a little higher, I'll take that retest to the downside. I'll take that retrace reject. Retrace reject. Get a little bit more. What a breakdown though. What a breakdown. Anyone take that breakdown on YouTube? Let me know if you're able to access the Google Meets Precious. Yeah, candles are really very erratic. So I'll go for the retest. I'll go for the retest. Too quick, didn't fill. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you don't get filled. So I'll wait for that retest. So I'll put it up here so you can see a little better. So you make your stop loss 50 cents, 44 cents all the way to view out number 2. But beautiful, beautiful breakdown. If you stayed patient, that was right there. So the rationale held up. The only thing is my approach on how to enter, right, wasn't right for this time. Right, wasn't right there, but it was right there. And sometimes that happens with trading, guys. That's something that you just have to live with. See if we can at least push into that 592.68. If we can, I'll be there for that break. For that, I continue to push into that 591.81. VIX is showing some strength. See at least if we can push into this inefficiency here. If that can take place, so I put the risk reward measure right there. Okay, VIX is starting to pick up some steam. So this is the void, right? That's the runway. The runway is into that 591.81. So if you're not in position already, right, I highly advise you chasing the bottom of this, unless you have a proven strategy to do so. When we get into this territory right here, that 50% retrace, right, I'll be really interested to see what takes place off of that level. Okay, let's see if we can at least push back into that inefficiency, push back into that M1/5, push back into those levels. If you're just joining us, I took 2 trades here, both got stopped out. Single digit, double digit stop out in pursuit of this breakdown here. Push a little higher. So look at that, look at that, right? I'm waiting for price action confirmation. I'm not just jumping in. So I'm waiting for some sort of price action confirmation. If we can get back below those levels. So today they're coming after everyone, guys. Be very, very careful, right? I'm waiting for some sort of confirmation. They just blasted past those levels, right? So be very, very, very careful. Okay? So confirmation is needed. Confirmation is needed. I was waiting for the retrace reject here with price action accommodating that setup. Okay, we're back at VWAP 2. So if you're in this case, if you're looking for that, if you took that breakdown, you're not taking profit. You're trying to hold it till target. You give everything back and you get evaporated. Keep in mind, guys, we don't have any catalysts. Remember, on our Saturday Outlook, we recap an Outlook program. I put a desert on those days. So stopped out here. Let's see if we take out the other side. There's manipulation at its finest. The other side of that orb. VIX continues to push lower. The hourly starting to shape up, starting to hammer back above that 20. Right, we went 3 down, 2, 3 up. So we have another runway here, very tight runway. And we got to get above these highs up here. VIX continues to push lower. Let's see if we can get a break and close below, above the 2 VWAPs now. We're above VWAP 1. We're above that daily open, 593.11. Okay, so be very, very careful, guys. Be very, very careful. If you need to, wait until 10 o'clock. I'm not touching this thing. Wait until 10. Yep, great job. This is ugly. Yeah, this is nasty. Yeah, get some coffee. Just settle in. Don't let them chop you up. And again, this is a time where you don't want to, if you're in a position, you don't want to wait and see. Okay? Trust me, just cutting the losses will help you. We have an entire week ahead of us. We have 3 days ahead of us. Okay? So don't forget, don't lose sight of the objective. All right, so we're about 4 minutes away from this the conclusion of this hourly candle. And what's going to really give us some confidence to the upside is if we close above that 20. If we can close above that hourly 20, which is at that 593.08, and we open up, we have a good chance of going 2 down, 2 up after grabbing these buy block lows. If that's the case, this break above that 593.63 can potentially be there for the taking. But today is a retest or break and hold type of environment. Okay. But anyone else notice how erratic these candles are? So whenever you see that, it's almost like the right off the open is the algo is doing the work. Double shot of espresso in the coffee, Matt. Fifteen minutes touch to 200 EMA. How are we looking on YouTube? How are we looking on YouTube, guys? Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. So far up until now, SPY off the open, we gapped down for about a point and some change. Took one trade I did, 2 trades, stopped out the first trade, 15%, second trade, 7-8%. Right, but the initial idea I was trying to take advantage of was this idea, and of course it didn't present itself there. Wasn't able to capitalize there. So just looking for the next setup. Looking for the next setup. Okay, we're bouncing back off of that 1812. Remember this morning we said if the VIX is going to be range bound, right? If the VIX is going to be range bound in this box, we're going to see a lot of side to side action. All right, look on the hourly. On the hourly, the Q's touch that 200, right? Bounce off that 50, bounce off that 50. The Dow bounced off that 20. IWM touched that 50 as well. So look at that daily candle up until now. Up until this point, look at that daily candle. If we include pre-market data, this is what that daily candle looks like, a doji. If we just include intraday data, this is what it looks like. So we came into this buy block up here, a sell block, sold off. Now we're below this 592.82. Starting to bounce on the VIX. Risk back above that VWAP into those lows. If anyone took any trades up into this point, right, and if you are positive, how are the contracts moving? Let us know. And if you're trading contracts that are further dated, right, and they're not 0 DTEs, right, let us know how they're moving. That's going to really benefit people who have not taken trades yet. So I already took the 0 DTEs. You saw how quickly they're moving. So just hunting for an opportunity here. Hunting for an opportunity. We're back below both VWAPs. The hourly, we're about 4 seconds away from getting a new hourly candle. Let me take this off. Now we've got a new hourly candle. New hourly candle here. So this hourly candle here is inside. Whichever end of the range it takes out, more than likely we'll get that continuation. So the top of that hourly candle is these highs up here. It's actually at that 50% retrace right there. In a small call. Again, make sure you're managing your positions accordingly, guys. We're moving 70 cents per 5 minute candle. Only real opportunity was a break of this zone to the downside, and then a bounce. This bounce basically near that 50% retrace on the daily, but this bounce. But it's really hard to gauge that bounce unless you play the reclaim or the VWAP reclaim. Oh, you joined Spy Strikers? Okay, let me join the Discord. Okay, there we go. I see you, Jorge. Thanks for letting me know. So you'll have access. Refresh, and you have access right now. Thank you for joining. Again, guys, make sure to join. The objective is to get you profitable. And the beautiful thing is, guys, look at the community. Look at the kind of the traders. No one is YOLOing. No one is taking anything crazy, right? Everyone is sticking to their plan. Look, no trade so far. Okay, so there's serious traders here. Very, very serious traders. There's no one trying to triple, double their account in one day. Okay? Everyone is here to unlock consistent profitability and play the long game. That's the objective. All right, I still like it to the downside below that 592.75, but again, it's just nothing clean. Nothing clean. Inside on the hourly. Probably wait until second shift. We're about 28 minutes away from second shift. There's no real edge in this environment right now, so be very, very careful. You should have access now, Jorge. Just refresh the Discord. Okay, beautiful. So welcome aboard, Jorge. Simple way to navigate the YouTube lives. Introduction, go through the introduction if you feel comfortable. Drop an introduction. Pre-market game plan, I post that every morning, 99% of the time. There can be some times where I don't post anything. Post-market recap, I post this every day after. That's like our database of everything that took place on SPY and across the market. The live trading is here. Right there, you get the Google Meets link. May alerts. I do send alerts here, but more of the alerts have been coming through the live on video, so it's much easier to relay the information than to type it out. In the chat, every month we have a new chat. Member ideas, you can post ideas there, automated levels, and my watch list. Okay, that's the quick run through of the Discord. Real-time audio right here. So trading floor, you go right there and you just join. You just join. The link. Again, link to join, guys. Take advantage. Take advantage of the May offer. Take advantage of the May offer. $34.99. There's the link. What are we looking at, JB? Yeah, that range, right? Yep, that range. You're on the money. So look at the 5-minute candle. Look at the 5-minute candles. So $34.99 a month. We can take a quick look across the market. This thing is going to put us to sleep. Okay, Tesla. Look at that nasty candle on Tesla. Look at that candle on Tesla. Nasty shooter. So a lot of folks probably trapped in that. PLTR 125. If we continue to break down, we have that accumulation break potentially brewing. Water candle. Not get filled. So how are we doing on Google Meets, guys? How are we doing on Google Meets? Anyone take any trades so far? The only opportunity I can highlight, guys, with break with confirmation is here. That's the only thing I can really think of to the upside. Once we clear convincingly, or we get above that daily open, you can use that daily open as your stop. That's about a 62-cent stop. If you want to tighten it, you can. This has room into that 50% retrace and that May 19 TOG. So this would be about a 40-cent stop here. Elon was speaking earlier, indicated he's only working in DC 1 to 2 days a week. I think he needs to focus on Tesla or even Starlink. If Starlink can go public, that's the next $1 trillion company. That, I think that would be more of a disruptor in the industry than Tesla was initially. That's where the opportunity is. So I can't wait for that IPO. Starlink. Again, same thing, breaks down there. Nothing clean, guys. Yesterday, I was talking about this. I was saying these candles, it's hard to quantify it, but these candles, they have a certain rhythm to them on different days. And if you're not watching SPY every single day, or if you don't have experience with it, you kind of don't get a feel for the rhythm. So that's the advantage we have. We watch this thing every day, so we know today, of course, it's chopping like we said it could potentially do, and the candles are very erratic. It's seeking lows. Just imagine every low or high it makes, it seeks, it wicks, and then it continues. Okay, there's almost a wick on every candle in both directions, except for the candle here, and except for the candle here. Can we get that breakdown here? Inside on the hourly, VIX is showing some strength here, and we can break below that 592.75, hold below it. There's a high risk short, or instead of saying high risk, low probability should be the word. Low probability short. Right, we might as well wait until 10 o'clock. All right, so took 2 trades, both trades got stopped out. Right, and now just looking for the next opportunity. So going into, by the end of first shift, yeah, we gotta make those mental notes. Make those mental notes, and make the adjustment shift to shift. So as you're observing price here, just take notes. Hey, how's price acting? See, the VIX has strength there. Okay, that short is playing out. Okay, nice breakdown there. So we can get one more push to the upside. So nice breakdown. Higher, so low probability, high risk short plays out. Setup still does what it needs to do, right? So I didn't take that setup. It's just something I identified. So we can come back into it. But look how if you're not taking profits, right? It's gonna take your money. I like how the VIX is showing some strength. So if we can push back a little bit higher, I'll maybe take this back to the downside. I like the strength on the VIX. Okay, see if I can take that back to the downside. So retrace reject. Okay, retrace reject in the position. as it approaches this zone here. If it gets back above it, closes back above it, then I'll close the position. So same protocols. Down 2%. See if we can wick back to the downside. So in this case, last thing I want is a massive candle to the upside. All right, so I'm going to be paying close attention to my levels. See if I can get that retrace reject, slide to the downside, potentially take out these lows. That would be great. I like how we're below both VWAPs. If you took this trade to the retrace reject, make sure you're taking profits. Up 5%. See if we can get some follow through. Make sure you're taking profits where you need to. We're below both VWAPs. So I did see some, did see a little 5% gain there. See if we get that continue push lower. So I want this zone not to be violated. I want this zone not to be violated. Okay, we're starting to move here. See if we get that continuation. I'm gonna take some off right there. At 7. Okay. See if you can take out these lows down here. Still in the position. And runners. Take a majority off at 7. See if you can violate these lows down here. Okay. Very, very, very choppy water. So you got to be very careful, guys. You got to be a sniper. So I already locked in profit 7%. Although I have expectations of price pushing here, I can't lose sight of what I have in front of me because of my expectations. Okay, my stop loss will be at 592.75. If we get back above that, I close this runner after securing profit at 7. I'm going to close the runner right there. Okay, this can still be a retrace reject. Okay, but quick. See how short-lived the opportunities are? As much as I want this to take out these lows, I can't fall in love with that. Because if I'm falling in love with that 7%, I give up that 7%, now I'm in drawdown. Okay, so today might be a type of environment, single-digit gains, and maybe we might have to close out the whole position. Okay, maybe the runners might not run today. All right. Again, if you don't have anything to catch this, just watch. And it's very easy to overtrade this, guys. Wow, thanks. Oh, wow, the VIX, yeah. VIX is pushing to the downside. VIX is pushing back to the downside. And you want to take that rejection. Higher risk rejection. So today is a day where you don't want to give back the gains from yesterday. So yesterday they gave up the gains. They got all the traders used to those gains, get happy, euphoric, come into the day, having the same kind of expectation and giving back what they made yesterday and some. And on top of that, they gave their confidence away too. Okay, so be very, very careful and manage risk accordingly. Book profits on call. Great job being caught. Make sure to like the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe. These are the kind of trades we take every day on live. Okay, so despite the conditions, despite still red on the day, but despite primarily due to that first trade where I was down 15%. But despite the conditions, we're still able to find these trades. Right, the trade idea still holds up. So this just goes to show you, whenever you have conditions like this is a real test. It's a stress test on your system. Once in a while, you want your system to be stress tested. But this is basically non-tradable conditions. Yeah, piano keys, Dr. Jones. Piano keys. Yeah, they're eliminating everyone. They're coming after everyone. No mercy today. No mercy. So we're inside on the hour. Inside on the hourly. So the two ideas are basically up here and here. And that's what's primarily playing out. Despite this ugly, ugly action. Look at the 5, guys. Look at this. It doesn't get uglier than that. And where are we? Bigger picture. Right? If we're going to respect the integrity of this channel, we already hit these highs. More than likely, we're going to gravitate toward these lows. So that's the rationale behind the short. They're going to try to trap as many people as possible, fatigue as many people as possible, right? And then make the move. Yeah, nice chart, JB. Price is tightening. So whenever you see those triangles, it's an indication that price continues to tighten. How are we doing on YouTube, guys? How are we doing on YouTube? What's impressive is you guys are sitting on the sidelines, right? That's what's more impressive to me, than if you have a strategy to capitalize off of this. Being able to identify this is poor conditions and just sitting on your hands, trust me, that's more impressive than having some elaborate, fancy strategy to take advantage of this. Okay, that's more impressive. That's a better setup. Sitting on your hands is a better setup than trading. Yeah, very, very choppy, guys. And another sign of chop is when they don't respect levels. What I mean by respect levels, it means price gets above and below levels without any hesitation. It slices right through it, gets below it, gets above it without any disregard, like it's almost not there. That's another sign. It slices through EMAs. It slices through VWAP, like it's not even there. It just completely ignores it. That's another sign of chop. Kiss. So we do have resistance up here, right? We have these highs, formation, first touch, second touch, right? Potential third touch. All right, so the question is, do they trap here? Or is that a catalyst for that break into here? And do they trap here, or do we just continue to break? That's the question. That's the $1 million question. If we adjust that like this, we can see how we're tightening. Now let's get a quick read on the volume. $1.28. So volume is relatively still there on the low end, but relatively still there. It's not a super low volume environment. So we're below VWAP 2. We can't get above it. If we can get above VWAP 2 for the first time, we stay above VWAP 1. See if this is the real break that we're looking for. That opportunity is up here. We can align it with these highs up there. That's about 30-cent risk. Okay, we're starting to break there. See if we have momentum there. See if the VIX can start dumping here. That'd be great. And let's see if that momentum is all we need. Do we have enough momentum off that break for this up here? If not, we have that daily open. And I play that daily open as that break retest. You can do this. Use that daily open and that pre-market low as your stop, right? So if you get back below the pre-market low, you get stopped out, and your entry is a retest of that daily open. Right, you can do that, or if we have enough momentum, catch it up there if you're looking to go long. If we need that, so we're starting to see that retest play out there, right? Comes into that zone, those highs. See if it's sustained. So nice retest. Beautiful retest actually. Right? Comes in back into that buy block, comes back near that daily open, bounces. If this is going to be a legitimate move, the VIX needs to start breaking down here. Immediately needs to start breaking down. Right? That was a nice retest right there. All right. Right here. Anyone take that retest? That's a good way to be positioned into that break and already have profits and use a runner to see if you get that continued push. Right? Contracts are relatively cheap today, the 0 DTEs. So good morning, guys. If you're just joining us for the first time, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. This is episode 51. Let's reset the room. We have 40 people joining us on YouTube. We took 3 trades up until this point. Got stopped out twice, trying to catch this breakdown. And of course, when after we get stopped out, it breaks down. That's part of it. Was able to catch this breakdown here for a single-digit gain, and basically 3 trades up until this point. So 1 worked in my favor, 2 worked against me. See if you get that retest there. Come a little lower. What I'm primarily paying attention to is if we can get I want that VWAP 2 to be held, because this can easily be a trap. Right. That can easily be a trap. So I want that VWAP 2 to be held. If we can hold above that VWAP. Right, we're just failing to hold above that VWAP. See, we get above VWAP 2, and then we give it back up. So we're not able to hold above it. If we can wick here, back above that daily open, right, that would be great. If not, this is just a trap. Now look at the VIX. The VIX is not breaking down. The VIX actually is starting to bounce. Look at that trap. I'm telling you, they're coming after everyone today. They're coming after everyone. Right? So we have measures in place to say, hey, you know what? That bounce was there for the taking. As the VIX was weak, we see the VIX is strong. We see that trap was set. Right? I'm telling you guys, market has no mercy. So just observe. We're going to get above that daily open. Right? We really need to get a hold above VWAP 2. That's the question. So if we're failing to hold above it multiple times, what happens when we do hold above it? All right. Even this bounce here, you can extract. If you're taking profits off this bounce, you're golden. If you're playing the game wait and see, right, you're going to see your profits dwindle. That's the only thing you're going to see. Okay, we're back above that daily open. I'm determined to not take an L today. I have just enough on my new account that I can buy a contract. But if I take an L, I gotta wire more. Exactly. So just that might be a good thing. So you're gonna have to just be very picky, be very selective in what you take. So sometimes having those constraints, having those financial constraints, sometimes can work to your benefit. Okay, because if you have access to a lot of capital and you don't have the discipline, right? That's like giving a child $100 and then leaving them alone in a candy store, right? It's only going to lead to you can't control yourself. So sometimes having those limits is actually great because you build the discipline. You build a discipline on seeking quality. You always look for quality over anything else. Took that bounce 5%. Great job, Carlos. Nice. Beautiful. All right. He takes that bounce. He takes his profits. That was surgical. Okay. If the VIX can break down here, guys, as ugly as this price action is, if the VIX can break down here and we can stay above VWAP 1 and VWAP 2, right, there's a good chance we can attempt these highs up here. Right, so if you're playing those highs up there, don't mind the noise here. Okay, don't mind the noise there. Don't mind the noise. VIX seems really bullish though. Right, it looks bullish, but don't forget where we are. Lightning. Okay, don't forget where we are. We're right here. Basically, we're still in that range that we talked about in the pre-market. So it's bullish within the range. So whenever you're trading ranges, what ends up happening is, oh my, look at that. Right. Whenever we start trading those ranges, right, you can play the when we get into those highs, it goes rejection off those highs and bounces off that resistance. So what I'm trying to look for on the VIX Lightning is a clean move. Yes, it's trending higher, but when it was here, for us to reclaim this, for it to legitimately provide a setup for us to the upside, if the VIX broke down here, we would break out there. Right, so trying to gauge the VIX alongside a potential move, a potential clean move, right? That's where it would have been, right there. If we got that breakdown there, we accumulate the upside, we break that trend, push back to the downside. That opens up the door. We broke this downward compression. That opens up the door for that push into these highs and potentially a break and hold and continue push into that at 50%, retrace to that gap. So that was the rationale behind it. So we're back below that daily open. So very little respect for that daily open. So let me take these off. Okay, I'll leave this one here. Let me put this here. Yep, 0 trades for me today so far. I want clear signals, exactly. So if you took any trades to kick off first shift, okay, make that mental note. Even if you didn't, make that mental note. Make the mental note of what took place. All right. So for me, first shift took 3 trades, stopped out on 2. 1 worked in my favor. What was I looking for, right? How did I trade? So 2 losses, 1 win in my favor. Red to kick off first shift. What did I trade? I tried to trade that breakdown end up getting stopped out. Why? I like this level. I lined up with some levels I was seeing in the pre-market, where below that pre-market low and below that 15-minute orb as well, those two things aligned. Okay, so make that a first assessment, and then go into the second shift. Even if you didn't take any trades, follow through. Just write 0 and 0. All right, so make sure you do your first shift assessment before you go into second shift, take any trades there. All right, so if you're just jumping in for the first time during second shift, if you waited, don't disregard what took place here, right? Just get a good feel for where we are in relation to the key levels and mark out the high and the low. Okay, that's the protocols. We follow these protocols regardless of the result. Okay? Whether you're green, whether you're yellow, whether you're red, you got to do the same thing. Okay? So very, very important to keep everything the same. Keep everything consistent. No trades, no trades. Great job, guys. Trades, great job. How are we looking on Google Meets? Any trades? Took retest, 2 red trades. So again, assess Ohm. Right. Did the trades you took here, were you respecting those? Were you respecting your risk? Were you getting stopped there where you needed to? Did the trades align with the things you're looking for? So run down that line and do that mental check before you take any other trades here. The one thing we can't ignore is here. On the 5. Okay. This potential accumulation break is looking really nice. Right. Upward compression right under the VWAP. Best way to approach it, same thing. You can use VWAP 1 as your stop. Two trades, one red, then green one. Great job. So make sure you're making those assessments, guys. If you follow this protocol, trust me, you'll be more aware of the things you're doing. You'll be more aware of the things you're doing. Took one trade, stopped out. Great job, thesis. So now, the things that took place here, regardless of the result, right, we get past that. Now we're here. Now we're here. So the same kind of thing takes place. We have that. We're trading inside on the hourly. Right. We've seen price action like this before. We've seen where we tighten and expand. We've seen it so many times. That's the beauty of trading one ticket. We have so much data and it's almost like you have muscle memory of all the things that took place. Right? You can recall. Hey, I recognize this. This is accumulation. Right? Once the accumulation breaks, that's when we tend to see a pretty decisive move. Whenever we're accumulating, we need to start participating on the edges, the fence. Okay, on the fence. If you don't have anything on the inside, the opportunities will be to the upside. So the question is, what do you do on the upside? Right, so when you're on the upside, only 2 things can happen. You can get the liquidity grabs. Okay, those are, in this case, the liquidity grabs. Okay, they're actually low risk. The risk in comparison to the reward is it's worth it. Okay, because you're buying those contracts at the cheapest point, and you just need some sort of pump on those contracts. Same thing here as well. Right? If you get price above there and you get weakness in that territory, get back below it, you get those liquidity grabs. If you get strength, hold and retest setups are available. So you just stay on the edges. Stay on the edges and try not to have any early entries. Okay? Try not to have any early entries. That would be the protocol. So this is where you want to participate. So that's what I'll be looking to do. Let this clean up. Again, the VIX is back at this potential breakdown spot again. So it's retesting that support. So we want this support to be violated and for it to break down. Let's see how that plays out. If it continues to treat it as support, more than likely we're going to push back lower. I'm going to keep adjusting this. Look at the tightening. Look at the tightening. How are you doing on YouTube? Let me know how you doing. Let me know how everyone's doing on YouTube. Make sure to like the video, guys. How many likes do we have? Let me get a like check. Like check. Okay, we have 21 likes. Let's get 40 likes today. 40 likes is the goal. 40 likes. 40 likes should be the standard. If we have 40 plus people in here, 50 plus people in here concurrently throughout the day, 40 likes should be the standard. Victor Santana, good. So again, we're waiting for this chop to be decided. Who's gonna be determined the victor, and we'll just go with the victor. The beautiful thing is, it's like you get to choose. You get to be on the side of the winner after the fact. So you don't have to choose a winner. So once there's a winner declared, you can just say, I picked a winner. Okay, so now we're inside here as well. So again, if we continue to stay inside, in the next 22 minutes, we're going to get a new hourly candle. Based on that hourly candle, what we can see is we can break the top side or the bottom side of that candle, or the bottom side of this inside candle. And what that tells us is if we break that high, we go 2-1-2 reversal. If we break that low, continue to slide, we go 2-1-2 continuation. More than likely, we have a good chance of gravitating back towards this 50. Okay? That's what the rationale is. So we're inside on the hourly as well. Right? Inside on the hourly extended and inside on the hourly regular. VIX is starting to break down. VIX is starting to break down. We can see a breakout here. VIX is starting to break down. Okay, another breakout there. Again, same setup. If you get that retest of that daily open, that's the best way to gauge that retest. Okay, you have that daily open, and you can use if you keep your stop super tight, you can use that VWAP as your stop. That's 25% risk. 25% risk. My thing is, can we close above this VWAP 2? Can we close above VWAP 2? So retest, folks. Let it come into that 593.23 and that 593.11 territory. And keep in mind, 15-minute orb. This is still the 15-minute orb up here. This 15-minute orb coincides with what? A bunch of different things up there. Okay, we're starting to move here because that breakdown on the VIX. We're starting to move here on the breakdown on the VIX. Look at the VIX. And you want to take that breakout. See if you can pull back a little bit. All right, don't chase. This is not the time to chase. So it's either you're in or you wait for that retest. So that played out to a T. Okay, so let's see if we can get that retest. And we're above that VWAP 2. Finally. See if we can get a little pause in the action, pull back a little bit. But what a break, what a break. So you see how that coincided with the VWAP, with the VIX. Beautifully, once that VIX broke down, this is what I was talking about, lightning. Right, once that VIX broke down, that's when that breakout took place. Okay? Who took advantage of that? Took it but got out quick. So at least you have something to show for a thesis. But overall, that's how breakouts tend to take place when we're choppy. When we're choppy, monitor both patterns. I'm here for the retest. I'm here for the retest. I'm here for the retest. right, of that BOG. So now that gap fill is in play. That gap fill is in play. We have that 50%. Remember, yesterday, how do we interact with that 50% retrace of that gap? Okay, so based on that drill yesterday, we have a good understanding today. See if I can get fill there. Okay, and the calls. And the calls for that retest. Okay, nice. See if we get that continued push. Right, didn't get the best entry. My entry was up near here. So for me, I want price to stay above that 593.62. 593.62. I like how the VIX continues to break down here, continues to slide. Let's see if the VIX, see if SPY can put together 2 consecutive candles above that VWAP. Okay, above that VWAP. See if you get a bounce here. In for the retest. Again, 10% stop loss, 10% leash. I want price to stay above that 593.59, 593.60 territory. I want the VIX to continue to fold. I want the VIX to continue to sell off. Right, it might come into that 9 to retest that 9, but generally, I want us to stay above this level up here. These 2 levels. If you did take that bounce, make sure you're managing accordingly. Okay. The hourly, if we can take out these highs up here, will be directional on the hourly. We'll go 2 reversal, 2 down, 2 up. Okay, if you're in it, just know where your exit is, just in case. Worst case scenario, know how much you're risking. Make sure you're not over leveraged, and let the probabilities play out. Okay. So let's see if we can hold above that level. Down 1%, 2%. If the 9 can start trailing into that level, that would be good. That would be great. That'll give me an additional layer of confidence. I do see this, so I would like this breakout to that bull flag to play out there. Downward compression, that would be great. Into those highs. So it's either small loss, right? Small loss if we break below those levels. My usual take profit or small gain. So no big losses allowed. No big losses allowed. Okay, we're starting to pick up some steam here. Okay, beautiful. Again, take profits where you need to, guys. There's a see profit, take profit type of environment. Don't wait for me to tell you when to take profits. We were up 3-4%. Okay. Seeing that continued push. Okay, beautiful, 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 beautiful. I'm gonna take some off right there. Okay, filled for 8. Now I'm holding this runner. Who's in this? See if we can stay above this level up here, these highs. If we can, if the VIX continues to dump, that would be fantastic. Okay. Up 7, up 9, beautiful. Take a little bit more off there, down to my last runner. Did get up to 11. So now I'm down to 1 contract. Okay. So I took some at 7, took the rest at 10, and then down to the last contract. So there was that peak into that 11%. Now I want price to stay above with this runner. I want price to stay above this 9 EMA. Okay, profits already extracted. Now let's see if I can use this 1 contract to see if we get that gap fill. Who took that? Beautiful setup, guys. Beautiful setup. All right, took some time, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful setup nonetheless. Off that retest. Contract is up 9%, 10%. This runner. See if we can stay above these highs. We're right at that 50% retrace on this gap. Right, we're right at that 50% retrace. What was the tell? Go back. A lot of you like to do back testing, but forward testing is the best. Right? Forward testing is paying attention to price in real time, making those decisions, those mental decisions. Go back, rewind. What took place on the breakdown took place here. Breakdown takes place here, breakout takes place there. I didn't get involved in that breakout. So I have to have another mechanism in place to see if I can take advantage of that breakout, which is the break and retest. Okay? So still in this runner here. Already secured profits. If we get below that 9 here, then I'll close this runner. That's the approach. So very important to take profits. So all in all, this did get all the way up into 11%. See if that 9 is respected. Okay, I'm gonna close it right there. All right, close it right there at 1%. So it can bounce off it. The running joke is whenever I exit runners, that's a good indicator that the thing is going to continue to run. All right, but I'll take that there. I'll close that there. So I had to stay patient for that setup. Setup presents itself. We take advantage. We execute. We have something to show for it. Great job, thesis. Great job, guys. Anyone else take that setup? Just so you're still in that runner? Yeah, you probably can use that 9. Use that 9 as your trailing stop. So I'm out of the position now, so I might want to run now. But again, pay attention to the view up the VIX as well, and just worst case scenario, break even or small loss on that runner. The only issue I see here is this 50% retrace on that gap. Okay, so able to extract double digits, single digits, and close that runner. How are we looking on Google Meets? Anyone take that trade? Took the breakout. Great job. Ryan Garcia, we need to pick a direction. Sheesh, yeah. Took the breakout. Great job, guys. Make sure you have something to show for it. Okay, so how do we time this breakout? That's what I want you guys to understand. How do we time this breakout? There's a method to the madness. All right, there's a method to the madness. Great job, Jorge. That's your first day too, right? Your first day today, Jorge. 7%. Great job. There you go. So I'm telling you guys, on YouTube, your membership pays for itself. Don't let $34 block you from learning a skill, or don't let that be the wall from limiting the things you can potentially learn and take advantage of, okay? This thing continues to go. Again, the running joke is as soon as I cut my runners, okay, the market continues to go. You're still in it, Censure? I think you took that as well. Anyone else? Make sure you're locking in the majority, guys. Anything can happen. Okay, so make sure you're locking in the majority. And a put. You see how quickly things change, right? So trust me, you can sit through this more comfortably if you have a runner. If you have full size, right? It's hard to sit through those swings after seeing profit. After seeing profit, it's hard to give those things back. Because when you start giving it back, what happens is you're going to say to yourself, let me just wait until I get back what I left on the table. Right? So, very important to understand that. Book some profits on the puts. Yeah, I did have that nice little slide to the downside there, depending on where the entry is. Great job, Vinkat. Right. What's impressive, again, I say it over and over again because it's truly impressive to me, is the poise a lot of you are showing. And that comes directly from the commitment you have to trading. So it's like you make one mistake, you make this adjustment, and right away you implement it. Okay, so this is why we take profits, guys. This is why we take profits. Because if you're holding this now, I mean, I saw 11%. Okay, maybe you get 12% maximum. Now it goes back to zero, maybe -5, minus whatever it is. Okay, so very, very important to always take profits. I love this community. No hate, all love here. Absolutely. We're all doing this, guys. There's no benefit. Again, I've always said it. There's no competition amongst our members. That's what makes our community unique. We're focused on the process. We're focused on the process, and we're focused on helping essentially everybody. My goal, my individual goal, is, as outlandish as it sounds, is providing the resources for every member to be consistently profitable week over week. That's the goal. So one person at a time. And then what ends up happening is when that person gets used to being profitable, what ends up happening is they start sharing the information with someone else in the community. Right? So there's no community like ours when it comes to that, because we're so driven and focused on the process. Was in deep red, now light red, recoup feathers. Great job, Elaine. Right? And a lot of our traders, they know how to trade out of drawdown. Trading out of drawdown is one of the most important skills you need. How do you act when you get punched in the face? That's like the Mike Tyson saying. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Okay? You have your elaborate game plan, you have your setups, right? Everything is peaches and cream. But what happens when you take a significant hit, when you take a blow to the face? Are you still counting on your setups? Are you still counting on your system? Or do you just toss everything out the window and revert to your animalistic behavior? Okay, that's the true sign of what kind of system you have. Not when conditions are ideal. When conditions are ideal, okay, anybody can trade. Right? So sometimes you have to welcome these tests that take place periodically, because it fortifies your system. It exposes some holes that you may need to fix in the long run. Okay? So that's what the kind of traders we have. Having the confidence, having the measures in place to trade out of drawdown responsibly. So that's the great work, Censure. And it's not easy to go from deep red to light red. Your confidence still has to be there. Okay, so good job on that, Censure. So again, we got, it looks like a cleaner retest here, right? It looks like a cleaner retest here, but again, whatever you take, don't have outsized expectations. See profit, take profit. I would even highly recommend closing the entire position and then living with the results after the fact. If price goes to the moon, who cares? Right? If you want to be a little risky, you can use a runner. Okay? So far, one trade here. VIX is starting to bounce, but that slide, this slide right here we saw in the VIX, coincided with this breakout we saw here on the SPY. Okay? We're still inside on the day, so don't forget, we're still inside on the daily. So make sure to subscribe, guys. Make sure to like. Make sure to join the Discord and be part of our community. Enter SPY call. If it dips below the 200 EMA, I'm out. So great job on knowing where your exit is. Knowing where your exit is. Anyone else take anything up until this point, or take that break out or that retest, or even take this most recent retest here? If you did, manage accordingly, take profits where you need to. And for the ones who just joined the Discord this week or past handful of days, keep in mind, don't feel FOMO to join every single trade. Make sure the trades align with the things you're looking for. Okay? So don't feel any pressure. Your time will come. And if someone does find success for one trade, right, we applaud their success. If someone manages risk accordingly and is able to manage the risk and navigate and bounce back, we applaud that as well. All right, so don't feel the pressure to take any trades because someone else is taking trades or I'm taking trades. The trades have to line up with what you're looking for. I can't emphasize that enough, right? So especially if you're in the beginning stages of your career. If you're in the beginning stages of your career, what I would do is I would just be observing, trying to find out what my setups are, monitor these interactions, and see what takes place at these levels, and be refining the psychology, the execution, the entry, the exit, all those things. All right? So just be very mindful of that. If the trade ideas line up with the things you're looking for, by all means, do your thing. Now all you need to do is just allocate the risk, manage the risk, which means taking profits where you need to, and cutting losses where you need to. So we're starting to see some pullback here off of those. If I take this off, guys, you'll see where we rejected out of. The line is very faint, but look, 594.02, that 50% retrace. See, that's a 50% retrace. That's a key level. Look at that nasty rejection. Look at that nasty. Look at the VIX. VIX is spiking back to the upside. We're right at that daily open. So they're coming for everyone today. Yes, first day, 2 targets. Real-time audio helps a lot. Awesome, awesome. Great job, Jorge. Again, guys, do me a favor. If you're in the Discord, go back to Gumroad and leave a review, right? It takes 1 minute. It takes 30 seconds. If you don't want to write a sentence, just leave some stars, all right? That tremendously helps people who are on the fence. Just keep in mind, at one point in time, you were on the fence as well. Okay, you were on the fence as well. You were unsure, and now you're here. So when you leave a review, it helps someone else who's on the fence. So we're going to continue to build the community. We're going to continue to cultivate and try to get as many people as possible to being green. But nasty rejection there. Nasty rejection there. VIX is back to the upside. It's a roller coaster ride, guys. Roller coaster ride. Like they say, stay calm and carry on. Absolutely. Exit from call with a loss. Great exit, Vinkat. All right. If you wanted to just hang around and see what takes place, look at this nasty rejection. Nasty rejection. Where are we rejecting off of? It's not some random spot on the chart. There's a specific reason why we're rejecting off of that 594.02. That's a 50% retrace. So now as the VIX starts to curl back the upside, the question becomes, does this pump have enough room? Right? Does this give us enough of a runway into these highs for us to break down on SPY here? Okay, for us to break down on SPY here. That's the question. Man, what a rejection. And the best way to utilize it, again, that same trade. Break below that PML. Break and hold or retest, however you're going to approach it. Right, we're below both VWAPs. You can see the 5 minute, same approach there. That's the entry model right there. See how it's happening right now. So the same levels as before. This is driving a lot of traders. The thing is, sometimes we can say retail here, retail here, retail here, but there's also a difficult and a sad side to it as well. So a lot of people who are not managing accordingly, guys, accounts are being blown up, and that has a real impact, right, on people's lives. So that's the unfortunate thing. That's the unfortunate thing. So I want to see if we can get back below here. I don't want to participate in any wicks. I don't want to be part of a wick. I was part of a wick here. I was part of a wick there. So I don't want to be early to the party. I want to get that retest. I want to get that retest. But if you did take that breakdown, nice slide to the downside, take advantage. You took advantage, kudos to you. Looks like a little slow with the volume. That was ugly. Yeah, that was ugly. If you were a bull up here and you were continuing to add to your position, it got ugly real quick. If you're a bear, this was beautiful. Trying to sell, wouldn't fill, -5. Damn. Yeah, the quickness. Sometimes, just whenever we're chopping around, sometimes they just speed up price at different times. It's like price is stagnant, and you get this erratic candle, and this erratic candle turns to 2, 3, 4, 5 candles that continue to be erratic in the same direction, right? Like this. It's like everything was okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get this drop of 5 candles, right? So we're back below both VWAPs now. We're back below both VWAPs. The potential approach can be in pursuit of this retest off that break. You have that daily open alongside that VWAP 1 and VWAP 2 below that, and that 9 retest. This can be a setup potentially here. 28% risk, 20 cent risk, 30 cent risk. But as it breaks down, you got to be very cognizant of this PML and that 592.75. Outside of that, the only thing I do see is a continued break of these lows down here. 592.75. 592.75 is the overnight low, so make sure you have that mark, guys. Thank you, Censure. I want to monitor the interaction here. So we have multiple things taking place there. We have the daily open. We have the VWAP 1, VWAP 2. We have the 9. So multiple things. So if we get back above this, that would show that the bulls are regaining that control. If we can't get above it, more than likely we're going to slide back to the downside and potentially break below that 592.82, 592.75. Right, that's the same level. Right, this zone right there. If we wick there, there can be a high risk, super high risk rejection. If we wick, there's price action combinations, rejection off the VWAP, rejection off that daily open. If we reclaim it back to the upside, got into a call. Okay, great job, George. Make sure to manage accordingly. Now guess where the VIX is going? Back to the downside. Back to the downside. Okay, we're starting to reject there. Right, very, very erratic price action. So size down. I'm probably going to size down here. For my next trade, I'll just size down. So it took 2 trades, stopped out. 1 trade, single digit. Took this trade. There was a double digit opportunity there. So right now, just basically break even. Right, but I'm going to size down. So the one trade that, the one that worked against me is that first one. That first one, I wasn't even in that trade for more than 10 seconds, I don't think. And as soon as I got in, I was down 10%, and then 12, 13, 14, 15. Right, that thing moved so fast. See if we get that rejection here, that continued follow through with that rejection. So a very interesting place here. That daily open. I'm going to size down here and take that to the downside. See if I get filled. Okay, filled. Okay. Up 4%, 2%. If you did take that, manage accordingly. 6. I'm going to take some off right there at 10%. Down to a runner, up 11%. Beautiful rejection there. Who's in that? Up 13. If we can hold below these levels down here, that'd be great. If not, we're going to get a bounce. So already locked in profit. At 10, down to a runner. So for this runner, I want us to stay below that daily open. See how quickly that worked out. I want to stay below that daily open. Okay, so now back to green. So I didn't think that was going to work out that quickly. But again, nice rejection, multiple areas of confluence, already locked in profit 10, and then now holding this runner to see if I can get that breakdown here. If we get back above that 593.11, we'll have to cut that. Make sure you're taking profits, guys. Make sure you're taking profits. This is sniper environment. Sniper environment. Still in the runner, already secure profits. Okay? So if we can get a break below these levels here, we have a good chance of pursuing that 592.46, 592.50 territory. I just need the VIX to wake up here. VIX can wake up, that would be great. See if we get that continued push. We're below both VWAPs, VWAP 1 and VWAP 2. Nice, beautiful. Up 13, 14. See if we get that strong close below that level. We've seen strength in that territory previously. So we want to slice right through it. I'm going to cut it right there. Okay, I'm going to cut it right there. All right, so nice double digit scalp right there. Who took that? Right, talked about the rationale. Talked about the amount of confluence, that daily open. VWAP 1, VWAP 2 is there. Nice double digit opportunity executed in a couple of minutes. All right. That's the beauty of scalping. So keep in mind, first two trades didn't work in my favor. But if I'm holding, if I'm taking larger loss than I need to, all these trades that are working in my favor now, they don't mean anything. Okay? Okay, so understand that. This is why I take profits. Look at that. How are we looking, guys? Anyone take that to the downside for that quick scalp? Again, if we can break below that 592.75, we can continue to slide to the downside, but it's just we get some friction anytime we break any levels. And look how ugly that chart is. Look how ugly that chart is. Bounce back from that overnight low. Yeah, that's a very dangerous level. So if you're just think of it like this, guys. Just think of it like this. No, this goes here. That was that retest. Just a little bit of where to apply a little bit of logic sometimes. All right. So if say there's a key level. Key level, simply put, the way I phrase it, is a level on the chart where price had a significant reaction off of previously. Okay? Simply put. Say if you're shorting, okay? You're shorting into a key level. Say you're shorting into a key level. So you took that breakdown, that accumulation break to the downside, beautiful setup. You know, you're loving the setup. You did your due diligence. You allocate a risk, and say your target is right below that key level. Anytime price is coming into a key level, one of the key levels that I mentioned in the book, or one of the key levels I use, okay, you'll see for yourself, or you'll just understand what I'm saying. 8 times out of 10, you're gonna get some sort of reaction. And that little reaction that you see will take away a lot of your profits. So what I do is if I'm near a key level, as I'm working, I'm taking profits, I'm taking profits. By the time I get to the key level, okay, by the time I get to the key level, that's when I'm trying to say, hey, you know what? If we get that breakdown, cool. If we don't, my runner's in place for that. Because the beautiful thing is, if that key level does break, after taking profits, if that holds, you can initiate another position down there. So after you take profits there, if you want, you can use half of your profits to initiate another position if it really holds below that key level down here, rather than risking the entirety of your position into the key level for the break. When 8 times out of 10 this happens, and when this happens, now you have to make a decision. Do you close your position here? Do you add to it? A lot of decisions have to be made. So the best thing to do is, I highly recommend, as you're approaching those key levels, even though it can break 8 times out of 10, it's going to bounce a little bit, and that little bounce can really interrupt the flow of your profits. Okay, so same scenario here. My entries here, I already extracted double digits, 10%. So why would I give up 10% in pursuit of this breakdown all the way down there? Right, just lock in that 10%, and then from there, use that runner. If that runner doesn't work well, then you just cut it. Okay, that's the approach. That's the approach. Now we're back above that VWAP 1, VWAP 2, and we're back to the upside. Back to the upside. Again, guys, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to join the Discord. So first shift, right, 1 for 3. 1 for 3. Took 3 trades, 1 worked in my favor, 2 stopped out. Second shift, completely different story. Took 2 trades, both of them worked out. Okay? So you have to be able to just move forward despite your results here. Despite the results on the left-hand side, you have to be able to move forward to take advantage of the opportunity on the right-hand side. But this is exhausting, guys. This is exhausting. It's dragging people from the highs to the lows, to the middle, from the middle to the top, from the middle to the bottom. A lot of chop. A lot of chop. So after 2 shifts, how are we looking, guys? Are we bullish? Are we bearish? What are your thoughts? So let's do this. By the end of second shift, will we be above that daily open or below that daily open? By the end of second shift, in the next 17 minutes, put in the chat. Are we going to be above? So are we going to be bullish or are we going to be bearish? Bullish or bearish? Right, I might look for another setup, but it has to be high quality. High quality. So even through this mess, guys, there are still opportunities. There are still opportunities, but you just have to know what to look for. You have to know how to assess the conditions, and you just have to know what you're looking for. So Slayer is bullish. I'm bullish too. If we can stay above that 593.11, I'm bullish. Bullish. We got a lot of bulls. It's easy to say bullish when we're above that daily open, right? So now we're basically, look at the daily candle. This is typically what happens when we have no events, no catalyst, and the market has nothing to chew on. Okay, if the market has nothing to chew on, no catalyst, what it's going to do is going to chew on you. And this is what it does, right? What it does is it gets into the lows, it gets into the highs, only to come back to near where it opened. That's how a doji is formed. So a doji basically says there's indecision. So we're back inside on the hourly. So now the VIX is heading back to the downside. Heading back to the downside. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me refill on the coffee. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, we're looking to push back at that 15-minute orb BOG. So first attempt at that gap fill was a fail. VIX continues to slide to the downside, so same approach. Same approach. If you took that bounce off of these levels, that PML, that provided a decent opportunity, reclaim of that daily open. We get above that 593.63, alongside that 593.59. We'll be back above that level we broke previously. So technically, from a technical standpoint, this is a liquidity grab. This is a trap. Despite it being a trap, you still can be profitable if you were trapped, if you take profits. Okay, so you still can manage to extract profits even though you're in a trap. But the key thing is making sure that you don't stay too long, right? You just take what you need, get out, and let the trap catch someone else, right? If not, play the other side. So what I mean by other side, we get above those highs, we reject off this level, we slice right through it. What would have been nice is a retrace reject. But we didn't get that retrace reject. We got that strong close below that level and a continued push to the downside. Now we're back at that level. So the question is, do we have enough fuel off of this recent bounce off that 592.82 to take us above that 50% retrace where we previously rejected? Okay, if you're looking to go short, this might be a nice opportunity between these two spots. Okay, so that's the approach. If we break above those two spots, you'll be invalidated. You can flip, and we have room into that gap fill. So in order for us to fill that gap, we need to get above this zone. Remember yesterday, that zone was, okay, that zone was here. This zone here. So look how we filled that gap yesterday. We initially got into the jaws of that gap. We've got above that zone. We got above the 50% retrace on the gap. Once we got above it, we came into it, we retested it, bounced. What took place today? Right? We came into the zone, we rejected off that zone. When we rejected off it, we pushed as far away as possible away from it into that PML where buyers picked it back up. Okay, so same kind of approach applies. Same kind of thing applies. Bullish, down, 20% recovery, beautiful. Great job, JB. You took that reclaim or reclaim of that VWAP? If you took that push right here, that was nice. Or that bounce. So there are opportunities. There are opportunities. A double bottom, nice. So there are opportunities, guys. So we're basically 10 minutes away from second shift. So same assessment. Same assessment, regardless if you took a trade or not, regardless of the outcome, you're going to make the same assessment. So the likelihood of me taking a trade in the next 10 minutes is very, very low, right? So that's probably all the work I'm going to do during second shift. So complete change from what we saw here in comparison to here. Added some puts here. Rejection off of that TOG. Right, that's the double bottom on the VIX. See if it bounces off that. If it bounces off this, continues to push higher, we can see another roller coaster ride to the downside into that 593.11. All right. And it's very easy to overtrade and get lost in the price action. Very easy to overtrade, very easy to readjust, get stopped out, do a second attempt, third attempt. So don't get carried away, guys. Don't get carried away. Bullish with vigilance. Okay. How are we doing on YouTube, guys? Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. And join the Discord community. So anyone take any trades during second shift here? Right, anyone take that break or that break and retest, or that breakdown, or this rejection here, or that bounce? Those were the four. That break was available, that retest was available, that reclaim to the downside was available, that rejection off that daily open, that VWAP and that 9 all in conjunction was to the downside was available. This bounce was available. Right, so opportunities were there. Opportunities were there. If we can bounce off of the, if we can bounce here on the VIX, nice bounce. We'll probably continue this rejection back into that daily open. Further creating another, further verifying that doji. Okay, nice rejection there. But you see how price is gravitating towards these key levels, guys. These key levels, right, that's what price is gravitating back towards. So you have to have these key levels on your chart. You have to have those key levels. Yeah, today was tough. It was tough, right? It was tough. There was some opportunities there, but it's very easy. These are the days. These are the days that have a significant impact on the P&L to the downside. These are the days where you have multiple days of being green, multiple weeks of being green, and you have that one day where you just lose track of everything and basically just fall for the trap, over trade, over leverage, and give back a lot of those gains. So these are the days where we have to stay poised, right? Where we have to stay, we have to stick to the plan, guys. We have to stay poised. We have to know what we're doing. We have to be vigilant, and it might even be better not to trade it. It might even be better not to trade. If you gave it a couple of stabs, you got stopped out a couple of times, just step back until things clear out. Okay, these are the days that really have an impact on your P&L. Days like this, if you can minimize the losses on days like this, or if you can not trade days like this, in the long run, you can really enjoy the P&L you're making on quote unquote regular days. Right, so in these kind of conditions, guys, EMAs, we're not trending, so the EMAs, look at the EMAs. You're going to get a lot of false signals off those EMAs. Okay, so whenever we're chopping, EMAs are chopping. So it's very, very important that we understand that. But if you're in the red, okay, don't make it worse than it is. Okay, guys, we can recover easily. Conditions will improve. Opportunities will flip in your favor, or the probabilities will flip in your favor, because look, this is a desert. Okay, this is a desert. There's nothing. That's the problem. And I think if you take a look at it's going to be very beneficial if you guys get a copy of this, the weekly recap. All right, so go through this every week. Go through this. Okay, get used to analyzing data. Look at this. So from Monday to Wednesday, it's a desert. So you got to be very, very careful on the earnings, the catalyst for earnings. Home Depot reported earnings this morning, but outside of that, outside of a couple of retail names, there's nothing. Okay, there's nothing. So in the meantime, it's like the market is just waiting for something to chew on. In the meantime, it's buying its time. The way the market buys time is by engineering liquidity, is by trapping positions, and is just playing his regular game. Okay, playing his regular game. So you guys will bounce back. You guys will bounce back. You'll bounce back, Matt. No worries. It's just these days. If we can just eliminate these days, I promise you guys, right? There'll be a tremendous benefit. 4 hours still intact to go higher. Yeah, exactly. The thing is, on the higher time frames, right? The trend is still intact, but we're just not creating any separation. Right? The trend is still intact. If you even zoom out to the 4 hour, like JB said, the trend, we're on that 9, but we just don't have enough movement. Right? We don't have enough movement. Okay. Intraday trend is still intact. It's just premium burn, chop, 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 trap, trap, trap. That's the theme of the day. Okay, VIX is starting to break down here. Below those lows, if it can continue to break down, has room at that 1802. This runway can open up the door. We continue to show weakness with runway right here, can open up the door for a potential push above that 593.63. Risk can be the 20, excuse me, right? So basically a failed double top. We have a new hourly candle coming in 1 hour. So again, guys, we're at the end of second shift. So second shift, how do we do in second shift? So let me know. How do we do? What was the results? How many trades did you take? Were you green, profitable? Were you red, drawdown? Were you yellow, no trades, break even? Just for second shift, not first shift and second shift, just for second shift. Make the assessment. How did you trade? What did you trade? Why did you trade? Where did you trade? So make that mental assessment. I promise you it helps from shift to shift, okay? So let us know in the chat on YouTube, in the Discord, on Google Meets, wherever you're joining us from. Let us know where you fall on the spectrum. Okay, so regardless, make sure you make that assessment before you carry on into third shift. Okay. So now what you have to be mindful of is you have to be mindful of the first shift, the second shift's highs, second shift's lows, and the primary interactions between these key levels. Identify: are we trending? Is there a strong trend? Intraday. What I mean by intraday, or what I mean by trend, is as far as the 1 minute here. Clear trend. No, EMAs keep crossing over. Okay. Where is the VIX? VIX starting to break down. So if we can get above that 563.63, if we can hold above it, we have a good runway into these highs up there. That's the approach I'm taking here. No trades, no clear direction. Great job. 2000. He has at 2002. All right. So for me, took 2 trades. Both worked in my favor. Right. Couldn't capitalize off of this break. Continued weakness on the VIX. Identified as retest. Retest played out beautifully. We continue to sell off right here. Took that retrace reject of that 593.11, that daily open, alongside that VWAP, alongside that 9, double digit gain there, locked in profit, and then the runner got stopped out. So those are the 2 trades I engaged in during second shift. So third shift, if the opportunity presents itself, look to take advantage, right? Still no trades. Great job, Lynn. So if you took no trades, no harm, no foul. Sitting on cash is a position. Right, sitting on cash is a position. How are we doing? Let me check the Google Meets. First hour was tough, light red now. Great job. Most of you are crawling your way back. So this first hour, make note in your journal of what things can you put in place, or what things should you look out for in the future to avoid being in drawdown or deep drawdown. Sometimes we can't avoid taking a loss on a trade. But if you took a loss that's a little larger than your usual loss, try to identify what took place. Was it because of the candles? Was it because of the entry? Was it because of whatever it was? All right, so make note of that. Very, very important to do that. No, exactly. No continuation on these breaks. So let me take that off right there. So first shift, second shift range identified. Same thing, same protocol. So where I said the opportunities are gonna lie on the edges. So same protocols apply, guys. Try to participate, engage on the edges. All I see is traps. Yep, traps. Yeah, VIX is at yesterday, the prior day's close. Great job, Censure. Second shift, second recoup, but still light red. Watching if VIX will cross overnight low. And I like how everyone has criteria they're waiting for, right? If X happens, I'll do this. If Y happens, I'll do this. So VIX right now is trying to get back below session lows. So again, that's the runway right there. That's the runway we have. If we can make that runway to these lows down here, we have this runway right here. If we gravitate back towards those previous lows down up there, if we reclaim them, more than likely, we'll start pulling back more. We're back at that daily open. See if bulls want to protect it. VIX sliding to the downside, continue slide. Something like that. If you're playing that daily open bounce, you have into that pre-market low. So nothing high probability, nothing A+. Everything is B or C, the setups, the quality of the setups. So low quality environment. Low quality environment. If I adjust this right here, you can see, despite the ugly price action, we're still trending higher. It's just a grind higher. Avoiding to have a fixed opinion. Exactly, you have to be flexible. We kind of laid it out that this can possibly take place in the pre-market. So very important to show up early to the show, guys. Pre-market program, I always say, is the most important part of our live stream. The pre-market program, the pre-market live stream at 9 a.m. Eastern is the most important part of the show. Anyone trade anything else? We're starting to see a nice dump here. We might get a little pop there. On SPY. Let's see if I can take the call, small size. See if I get filled. Okay, filled. Okay, for that nice little bounce off that daily open with that continued weakness on the VIX. See if we can get back above that 593.28. Okay, let's see if we get that continued push. If we break below that daily open, close below it, I'll cut this position based on that key level. I'll cut right there. I'll cut right there for 2%. If we bounce, I'll give another attempt. Right, I'm just very wary of that breakdown. Right, I like how the VIX is dumping here. Let's see if I can wait for some confirmation at least. Okay. Even though the VIX is dumping, the price action doesn't give me confidence. If we can get some buyers to step in off that daily open, protect it, maybe I can take advantage of that, continue to push higher. Okay, see if I can take another stab at this. So stopped out 2%, back in. See if that daily open hold, down 4%. I'm gonna cut right there. 4%. So gave it 2 attempts there. 2%, 4%. I'm just trying to gauge if I can get that bounce. Right, just keeping my risk very, very tight. Because this is a critical level. If we just slice right through it, we can give it up fairly quickly. Right, 5 minute doesn't look promising, so I might just let that go. So stopped out 2%, stopped out 4%. So one trade idea here. If we can get above that daily open, I can potentially re-entertain it if the VIX continues to dump. If not, I'll let this thing go. Okay, we're back above that daily open. Look at the amount of shake and bake it does. Right, so if you're trying to catch the best entry, if you get stopped out, just keep those stops small. See if I can take it there. So last attempt. Okay, last attempt here. So stopped out 2%, stopped out 4%, and we're back in for the calls. And the fills are not as good as well. Didn't get a good fill here. Okay. I'm gonna cut it there, 4%. So at this point, guys, right, I don't want this to lead to over trading. Gave it 3 attempts, 4%, 2%, right? So in this small space, took 3 trades. That's a little out of my comfort zone. Have to identify it and just let it go. Okay, so even if it continues to rip to the upside, if you're in this, if you didn't get stopped out, you can manage accordingly. I gave it 3 attempts, stopped out 3 times, 4%, 4%, 2%, trying to keep the risk as tight as possible and trying to basically use that 10 to 15% stop for three attempts. All right, so gave an attempt 3 times, didn't work in my favor. So we'll let go of it there. Have to get over it. So it's very easy to overtrade these conditions, guys. Very easy to overtrade these conditions. And the last thing I want to do is start overtrading here. And that was a good cut. There's a reason why I'm taking those profits early. Cutting those trades early. All right, I don't want that to happen. Right, in this case, what I wanted was for us to respect this daily open and for the VIX to dump. It wasn't happening, I'm just cutting it. So I'm just waiting for the VIX to continue its dump. If it can do that, that's great. If it doesn't, then it's concerning to me. That's the approach. No trades today, inside day. Expecting a break above yesterday's high. Close high, then retouch for a trade. We'll wait for today. My minimum time frame is 5, so I'll learn how to trade 1 minute comfortably. At this point, I want to see 592 again before high of the day. Yeah. So if you're trying to take trades, guys, make sure you're keeping your risk as tight as possible. and don't overtrade. Let me take off these EMAs. There's no reason to have EMAs at the moment here. So if you're just joining us on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. We go live every day, 9 a.m. with the most comprehensive pre-market program, followed by live trading. You are now tuned into our live trading show. Up until this point, we took one trade, 2 trades there, got stopped out twice. Took a trade here, worked in our favor. Took a trade there, worked in our favor. Took a trade there, worked in our favor. Right, but just notice how we took 3 stop outs there for small single-digit losses in pursuit of a bounce in conjunction with a breakdown on the VIX. Right? And we're taking those double-digit profits. So at this point, guys, try to stick on the edges. Okay, the edges here, and it's very easy to overtrade here. So even though there's one trade idea, technically these are 3 transactions. So 3 trades, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 trades. That's probably the most trades I've taken during our live in the 51 episodes we've been doing. Okay? So you have to be able to identify that. Am I over trading? What kind of trades am I taking? Do these trades line up with what I'm looking for? Am I kind of deviating away from my strategy? So make those mental checks throughout. So at this time, I kind of deviated here. Even though I'm deviating, I'm still managing risk. If you're going to deviate, have tighter stops. Okay, we're stuck at this level here. When we want with the ego, there's a loss of vision, of course. Yep, absolutely. So it's hard to see if you want something to work out. Right? If you fall in love with an idea and you want that idea to work out, your brain will block out everything else. So why do you think I'm cutting here? Because if we give up that daily open, more than likely we're going to get a decisive move in either direction. So the last thing I want to do is be short, be long here when we're pushing away from that daily open. And we're starting to break down on the 5. Okay? We're starting to break down on the 5. Starting to break down here. You want to take that breakdown? So keep your composure in this kind of condition, guys. Keep your composure. Don't let this wipe you out. We're in the middle of May. So your monthly P&L, your weekly P&L is on the line. Don't let today wipe everything out. Stepped away early, but boy, everything is hugging VWAP, waiting for a spike candle to pull away, then rubber band candle to be completely away. Yeah, so everything is choppy. So there are opportunities, guys, but there are few far in between. There's no continuation, very little continuation. I'm not going to say there's no continuation, but very little continuation. But if you're managing your risk, you still somehow, some way can navigate this. If you're not taking profit, you're seeing profits evaporate. So we're at session lows. First shift lows. Second shift lows, actually. So we come into second shift lows, we bounce. Look at that. See, we grab first shift low, second shift lows, and we take them to the other side. Take them to the other side. How are we doing on YouTube? YouTube is quiet today. Everyone's quiet on YouTube. We got 41 people in the chat. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, guys. If you're a first-time viewer, let us know where you're joining from. And these are the days that determine what your months will look like. These are the days, guys. These are the days. Just be able to withstand this day and keep your composure. Don't fold. in a small call. Nice grab of those lows. Right? Opportunities are on the edges. Liquidity grab second shift's lows. They grab second shift's lows. Back to the upside. So in this case, this can either be a reclaim or a retrace reject. And we're back in that range, JB. We continue to trade in that box. Anyone grab that liquidity grab? So a reclaim or a reject. VIX is dumping, more than likely. I mean, anything can happen at this point. I'm not going to speculate. But we did grab these lows. So look how beautiful that liquidity grab was. So this is the kind of drill that we need to be applying. So grabbing those lows. We're quickly coming into those highs up there. Actually, we have some runway. Now the question is, with this most recent liquidity grab, do we have enough fuel if we get above that daily open to push into these highs up here? That's the question. Okay. Great job, Vincott. Grab that, picked up that liquidity grab there. Anyone else grab this? I know playing these liquidity grabs is scary, but when we're chopping, right, their probability significantly increases, and the risk reward is significantly higher than try to take lows into lower lows. 592.45 touched 3 times. 592.45. Yeah. So 592.45 is right there. Yeah, right here. Yeah, right by those lows. So you can see anytime price comes into this territory, look at the wicks. Look at the wicks. The question now is, did we grab enough liquidity? Do we have enough fuel to get back above that daily open and get above it and possibly push back the upside? That's the question. Make sure to like the video on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to take advantage of the May offer and join the Discord. So keep in mind, we're trading in that desert. There's where we are. Where's the desert? Right here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Inside on the hourly. All right, look at that daily candle. Doji. Anyone else take any other trades on YouTube? Anyone else take that session 2 liquidity grab? Shift 2. Look at the hourly candle, guys. And kudos to the people who didn't trade. So the people who took no trades, who stayed on the sideline, great job. No trades for me today, very choppy, and I do not see clear entries. The channel is very small. Yeah, the channel is very small. But look how the VIX is dumping here. If we can get above that daily open. If you're taking trades, keep your risk as tight as possible. If you're taking your multiple attempts, keep it as tight as possible. Right, try to get that break here. One trade idea, 3 attempts. Stopped out at 4, stopped out at 4, stopped out at 2. Typically, if I'm down 2%, 4%, very rarely do I cut a position at 2% or 4%. Right? But the conditions call for different things. When you cut something at 2%, 4%, it essentially means you're not giving it any breathing room. That either has to work right away or you want no parts of it. So it's a low conviction setup. So if we take this, I can kind of see this as well, downward compression off those pre-market highs. Right? So formation, rejection, rejection, trap, rejection. You might see it better if I do this. Right? So if you took no trades today, put no trades in the chat. You might be the winners. You might be the winners today. On YouTube, we have 44 people here on the check-in. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button, guys. We're at 31 likes. Let's get 40 likes. 40 likes. On Friday, I'm going to do a giveaway. So 50th episode giveaway. I'll give away 5. I'll give away 5 memberships, 5 weekly passes. 5 weekly passes. I'm still trying to figure out how I can do it. Maybe we'll do some sort of random draw. So make sure to tune in on Friday. Friday's Free Trade Friday as well. On Friday, once we hit 40 likes on YouTube, I'll give you access to the live video stream with no delays that the private members have access to. So make sure to tune in on Friday for that giveaway. 5 memberships, weekly pass. Okay, so for 5 members. And just with that weekly pass, just within those 5 days, right, you'll learn a ton. No trades. Good job, Steve. The face whisperer. No trades. In and out with errands. So you guys didn't miss much. You guys didn't miss much. No trades, probably a bad sign. Yeah, the 5 minute looks like a giant. No trades today. Probably a bad sign. Yep. Ugly. No trades for me yet. Nothing worth. That's what I like to see, guys. That's what I like to see. So at some point we do need catalysts. We do need volatility. It gives the market something to work with. If it has nothing to work with, these are the kind of conditions we have to deal with. So what's easier? Let me know in the chat. What's easier to trade? Is this easier to trade, or if you were trading the first 2 weeks of April, the high volatility conditions? Do you prefer chop or do you prefer extreme volatility? Let me know. Okay, we're back above that daily open. So the same setup I was looking for earlier. It's going to do that, guys. In these kind of conditions, you're going to be directionally right. Even though your P&L doesn't show that you're directionally right, you might have got stopped out, you're going to be directionally right. So don't let that be something that makes you jump into trades just because it finally played out. Okay, still assess the conditions, still assess the setups, assess everything else before jumping in. Okay? Small call. Nice reclaim of that daily open. So you're waiting for the action up here. JB. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Action up here. VIX has still a little bit of room to run. Little bit of room to run. It's running out of room though. So as it approaches this low down here, it needs to break this low convincingly. 100%. Save your ammo, guys. Probably the best advice of the day, guys. Exit calls with small profit. Great job, George. Nice reclaim. If you're going to trade, just size down. I started sizing down basically in second shift. Especially here. Right? Start sizing down here and just sizing down here, managing risk. Because trust me, if you're break even or small red on the day, you can easily come back the next day. If you take big losses, right, you have to dig yourself out of a hole. And once you dig yourself out of a hole, you have to now build something. So it's a twofold problem. Okay, so if you keep those losses small, you'll thank yourself later. Great job, George. Venkat, you guys took the reclaim. Look at that daily candle. Again, there's a low probability environment. We're hugging the VWAP, VWAP 1, VWAP 2. We're basically disregarding VWAP 1. Price is moving like VWAP is not even there. Right, so it's hit or miss. So it gets above VWAP, below VWAP, above VWAP, below VWAP. So very little respect for VWAP. Took one trade, lost $50, probably not going to bother with another. Great job. So $50, that's easily, you can easily recover that. Whatever it is, right? It's easily, if it's within your risk, right? You can easily recover it. So outside of this one trade idea, 3 attempts, 3 single-digit losses, I haven't taken anything. And this was a little bit, I mean, in hindsight, everything makes sense in hindsight. This was super low risk, right? You probably can tell in real time the reason why I was managing it so tightly. Didn't have a lot of conviction, but I just wanted to see if I can kind of get a pop to the upside. Okay. So outside of that, this presented itself, right? Grab with first shift, second shift's lows. And again, if you're in the Discord, make sure to read the book. The book explains this setup. Okay, explain that setup. If you do have the calls, guys, we just saw a pretty significant order on the time and sale. If anyone saw that, we saw a pretty significant dump on the time and sale. So be careful. Make sure you're taking profits on those calls. We are double inside. We just continue to tighten, continue to tighten, continue to tighten. If you don't see it, look on the hourly. Look how tight we are. You see? And then look. Right? All those wicks. Okay? And now you can see where's the trap. The trap was down here and the trap was up there. So if we kind of zoom in, this is what it looks like. If we continue to zoom in, this is what it looks like. That hourly, you see? Those traps. So double inside. Tightening means, yep, that's exactly what it means, thesis. That's exactly what it means. How are we doing on Google Meets? Took profits. Took pro market low, upside. Stopped in profits. Great job, Slayer. Walter, no trades, waiting for true trend or bigger moves. Awesome job. So look at the hourly. You can see this tightening on the hourly. We have a brand new 50-minute candle. We have a brand new 60-minute hourly candle. Right. So double inside. So whenever we're double inside, that means within that range, now we're inside this inside candle. We're inside the inside candle. Make sure to like the video on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. If you've been watching for more than 5 episodes, more than a week, the best course of action is to join the Discord to get the best experience. If you're a first-time viewer, continue to watch these episodes. Continue to get a feel for how we do things. Right? And take your steps. Take the next step and invest in yourself and join the Discord. All right, the May special is $34.99 a month. You get access to a ton of things. You get access to my real-time indicators, real-time technicals, 500 plus hours of live trading video here on audio and video in real time, no delays, no ads, live Q&A, weekly lessons, all right, and a ton of other things. So it looks like the VIX is running out of fuel here, running out of steam. Off and is bouncing off that 1792. If that takes place, a potential breakdown can take place here. Let me take this off. Right, again, very low probability, choppy environment. So best thing to do is just sit on your hands. And sit on your hands and ask questions. That's the best course of action for today. I'm bullish if we bounce here. Never mind. Every pump free falls. Again, yep. They're coming after everyone. All right. The market wasn't too happy about that upside pump yesterday. Too many people made money. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me get that back. And that's what's happening. If any trader is caught, I'll say this, a majority of retail that caught that upside pump yesterday and made over 100% coming into today, they probably gave up all of it because they're blindsided, having the same expectations, over leveraging, potentially feeling euphoria, and the market takes everything. Okay, so the market is not done with you guys. It's not done. If you think you got one over the market, it's going to try to come back and get it. Okay, we're starting to break down here. Okay, let's see if we can stay below that 592.75. Has room into these lows down there. VIX is starting to pump here. Let's see if this thing can wake up finally. See if I can take the retrace reject there. Small size again. Okay, filled. Okay, up 3%. has room into those lows. If you took that, manage accordingly. I don't want price to get back above that 592.75. I like how the VIX is pumping there. So basically, see if I can get that push lower. Stay below that pre-market low. Okay, stay below that pre-market low and become directional on the hourly. If that 5 minute can hold below it, that'll give me some confidence, but we just got to be very wary of this zone down here. So my stop loss for this position, 592.82. We get back above it, then I'll part ways with the setup if we close back above it. So taking advantage of this retrace reject in conjunction with that bounce on the VIX. Okay, let's see who wants to cooperate. So on price to stay below that 592.82, down 5%, 6%. If we can wick back to the downside, that'd be beautiful. Okay, and hold that wick in pursuit of a potential directional move on the hourly. Okay, let's see if we get that continued push. Almost stopped out there. Right, I want it to hold below that 592.82. So I like this continued push on the VIX. The VIX needs to continue to push to the upside. It needs to continue. I like that strength. Let's invite that strength on the VIX. Okay. Let's see if we get that downside push on SPY now. Up 3, 6, 3. These wicks at the bottom are killer. Okay, make sure you're taking profits, guys. If you're in this, make sure you're taking profits. Don't wait for me to say take profit. See if we can get a full close on that 5 minute. Did see 6%. Now look at the wicks on the bottom end. So if you're able to extract 6 here, kudos to you. Right. So what I'm risking here is reclaim of that 592.82. That's about a 5%. 5-6% stop. Right? See if we can get continued push lower. Paying attention to this 5 as well. 5 is a little cleaner, right? See if we can break below these lows on the 5 and continue to the downside. Right? Kind of block out the noise. Okay. Okay. We're rocking and rolling. I'm going to take 4 off right there at 11. Fill that 12. Down to a runner. Okay, we're rocking and rolling. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's see if we get that hold. Below that level. Okay, let's see if we get that continued push lower. I want that close. I already took profits at 11. So only using 5 cons. Okay, I'm down to 1 runner now. Up 13, 14, 15. I want that continued strength on the VIX. If we can get it close below here, we can see that continued breakdown. 5 looks clean. Don't chase. Up 21, 19. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 22. I'm going to close right there. All out. Okay. Beautiful. Fill that 22. Okay, that played out. That retrace reject played out beautifully. Right, again, you have to take profits where you can. You can't fall in love with that extension. Got double-digit gain there. Was able to extract 22 there. We're below the zone. Things can get dicey off these lows. And was able to take that. That's probably the cleanest move I got all day. Right, just staying patient, sticking to the setups. And again, here, I almost got stopped out here too, guys. Almost got stopped out here. If I got that close above that 592.82, then I'll probably take a 5-6% loss. Okay, so very important to understand. Not only fall in love with the result, but understand that, hey, you know what? If it broke above that closed, then the opportunity would have we would have been stopped out. All right. Appreciate it, JB. Conviction 2 sig. Wipe out lows of the day. We can go. Bear trap this day. Yep. So look what they're doing. They're taking out the lows. Now they're taking out these lows. So if I'm, keep in mind, I was up 22, 23 as it continued to roll. I'm taking profits. Okay. But if you're continuing to hold, you just saw 23%, 22%, whatever it was at the very low of this candle become 1%, 2%, 3%. So the reason why I had a little more conviction on this setup for that breakdown is because that the VIX ran out of fuel. So what I mean by that, remember that slide we talked about filling that void? So I had that slide. Once it pushed into these lows down here, it ran out of fuel. So the next move is going to be associated with what takes place there. And that low right here, where I bounced off, have lined up with that retrace reject. So it's not just seeing a breakdown or a breakout on the VIX. It's lining it up with the price action you see and then seeing if you have any setups to take advantage of a potential move on SPY. Okay, so that was a nice move right there. Okay, that was good. Needed that. I needed that one. Right. Bear trap back to the upside. I'm telling you guys, the market is vicious today. It's coming after everyone. If you don't see these traps, if you don't know how to identify these traps, if you're not scalping, it's coming after everyone. Intraday traders, swing traders, whatever you're looking for, they're coming after you. Appreciate it, Matt. Anyone catch that? That was quick, guys. That was quick. That was quick. All right? That was quick. I'm sick. I took the same trade you did, but the DAS trader is so confusing. It never fills out. The thing is, depending on where you entered, keep in mind, my entry wasn't on the breakdown. My entry was here, right? As we're showing that weakness, had to sit through 5, 6%, and then it finally broke down, right? So if you're trying to get filled here, it's very hard to get filled because the contract premiums just spiked up as this candle was dumping. So it moved very fast. So probably blew past your order, right? But again, retrace reject. That's the kind of thing we look for. If you missed it, no worries. There'll be more opportunities. I got in, tried to buy a put, but I'm still figuring, yeah. So I haven't used DAS before. I haven't used their platform before. So make sure you're trying to make sure it's on market orders or you're buying the ask. Okay, so make sure you're buying the ask. If you're trying to get the best fills, instant fills, make sure you're buying the ask. So if you're buying, if you're putting in limit orders, or if you're buying the bid, right, you're trying to buy the contracts at a price lower than what they're selling for. You can get filled, but sometimes if price is moving quicker, right, you might not get filled right away. So if you want the best fills, make sure you're buying the ask and make sure you're doing the market order. And sometimes it's give and take too, guys. Sometimes you get filled, sometimes you don't. And nice retrace reject once again. Right? Nice retrace reject once again. If you're trying to get that full breakdown, they take your profits. So take profits wherever you are, guys. And that might be my last trade of the day. So you see the benefit of getting stopped out here. 4%, 4%, 2%. Okay. So the closer we get to the close, guys, don't try to force anything. If you don't see anything, just call it a day. All right. We always have to remind ourselves, we have to have, are you making any orders right now? No trades right now, Jack. Again, guys, if you want to be part of this kind of trade, these kind of trade ideas in real time, you don't want to miss them. You have to join the Discord. This was a nice 20% opportunity, and this chop and this madness, we're still able to extract profits. So we're still able to find opportunities, execute on those opportunities, allocate risk, manage risk, and let the probabilities play out. Okay? That's the primary thing. So I'm looking at your screenshot there, Matt, and it looks like you have the option chain. In the middle, you have the chart down there. You have the execution terminal below the option chain. If anyone used DAS before, just give Matt some advice on how to set it up. So that's what the community is for. That's what the community is for, guys. If you've encountered any problems with DAS, right, just give Matt a hand. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research on DAS and see what kind of information I can find for you, Matt. And realize I never bought it in the first place. Okay, after I bought, I tried to sell, and it didn't. It said I don't have enough to cover, and I realized I never. So sometimes it says you don't have enough to cover is because what you're trying to do is you're trying to sell the contract. Right? Sometimes when you don't have a position and you try to just sell something accidentally, right? It just says you don't have enough to cover. All right. But just getting familiar with the platform. You'll build familiarity over time. So we're coming to the end of third shift, guys. The end of third shift. So despite taking those small losses there, still green here. Right. So small green today. And it's been very back and forth. Very back and forth. Right, and this is probably the most trades I've taken within the 51 episodes we've had. And this is directly correlated with the price action. Okay, they're directly correlated with the price action. So even to kick off this week, last week I was within my range of the amount of trades I want to take. This week I'm already off to a hot start. Not from a streak standpoint, not from a win streak standpoint, but from a volume standpoint. Going into tomorrow, I might have to just dial back a little bit. Right, since we have no catalyst, I might not even trade the initial open unless something A+ shows up. Right, so before first shift even closed, I already had 3 under my belt. So during first shift, I try to just keep it to 1 to 2, maybe 3. Right, but during the first 10 minutes, I already had 2 trades under my belt. So as far as the quantity of trades is concerned, for my liking, right, I'm on the high end, so I'll probably look to dial it back a little bit, right, going into tomorrow. Anyone else take any trades? Anyone else catch these lows? Grab those lows. If you do the opposite thing down here, you're rewarded. VIX is now back to the downside. I'm starting to get it. The first one worked like a charm. The one I lost. Yeah. It always works out, or you always get filled when the trade idea doesn't work. So we're quickly approaching the end of the shift, guys. Third shift. So again, go through your mental notes. How many trades did you take? Right. But this was nice right here. Go to the mental note. So we're back at this PML and that 15-minute orb low. So now what is the VIX doing? The VIX is pushing back the downside. Again, I don't like to play things in pursuit. How are we looking, guys, in the Discord? How are we looking? How are we looking, strikers? How are we looking? You guys are doing good. You guys are doing great. Okay, especially the ones that are sitting on the sidelines and seeking quality. You'll thank yourself on Friday. Not the easiest conditions to trade, guys. Not the easiest conditions to trade. But again, if there's any levels we can count on during these conditions, right, is the key levels. Took the last trade with you. Great job, Thesis. That was a nice ride. That was a nice ride to the downside right there. Right. To be honest, I was expecting maybe a single digit take profit. That's what I was expecting. Right. But this nice little dump, that was a nice little bonus. I was maybe expecting a 7 to 8%, and I was going to lock in profit. And then I'm trying to sell, and then boom, this thing slides 10, 11%, and get filled there. Okay, we have another potential breakdown off that same level. But the only difference here is now the VIX is not doing what it was doing last time. So this can still work out, but the probability of this working out is significantly lower from my experience than when the VIX is making a point-to-point move. All right, we're all related to those key levels. All related to those key levels. Nice breakdown. We're directionally on the hour. We went 1-2-1-2 reversal. Anyone take that rejection here? If you did take that rejection, depending on your entry, manage accordingly. Okay. We got that rejection off that, like the key zone, upward accumulation. Right. Upward compression. VIX is starting to pick up. A nice breakdown. I would argue this is a cleaner breakdown. This sequence of price action is cleaner than this. This one was more sporadic. This is more convincing and clean. Right? But same setup there. So think about it. If this provided about a 20% opportunity, this probably did the same thing. But if you're not taking profits, look at that. Off those lows. Exit from put. Nice rejection there. Great job, Vincat. Make sure to like the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe. Right. We're on the last stretch of our live trading show. That's going to be the last trade I'm going to take. It's been a very, very insightful episode. Right. We can't have those trending days every single day. Every day can't be like this. Right. If every day, I think it was JB who made the comment, right? We were talking about how if every day was like this, our life would be on easy mode, right? We would love this to happen every day, but is there a coincidence? After giving us this, they give us this. Okay, they give us this. Is that a coincidence? So after giving us this, to kick off the week, they get us used to that, and then boom, they counter. And keep in mind, into this, we did the opposite in post-market, pre-market. The sentiment was bearish, and then they do the opposite. And then we come into today, we gap down. We don't fill that gap. And then we just chop. So again, guys, they love to switch the tempo, love to change the pace, love to change the speed. Anything and everything is on the table for them to create manipulation. Anything and everything. For me, it's like chasing my tail in the market, going to take off some, going to take off some weeds outside, more profitable. Yeah, so that might be a better idea than to watch this thing. Make sure to like the video, guys. 40 likes is the goal. 40 likes is the target. If you're joining us for the first time, let us know where you're joining from. And hopefully you're having a profitable month of May. We're wrapping up the month of May shortly. We're on the second half of May. So hopefully you're finding success. And these conditions are very challenging. So make sure, if you're on YouTube, if you're tuning in, make sure you're part of a community that gives you the resources, right, that equips you to unlock consistent profitability. And that's what we do with these SPY strikers. So a nice dump on the VIX here. As the VIX is dumping, let's see if we can reclaim that level. We went buy block on the 5. So that's the second buy block we had all day. But more importantly, look at this daily candle. More importantly, look at that daily candle. So we just wrapped up third shift. What? I just got back. So we just wrapped up third shift, guys. So let's do a quick check on third shift. How did you do on third shift? How did you do all day? Right. So let me know in the chat on YouTube, on Discord, on Google Meets. Right. How did you do throughout the day? Are you green on the day? Yellow, small red? How many trades did you take? Like I said, I took probably the most trades I've taken during our 51 episodes today. So 2 there, 3, 4, 5, 3 there, 6, 7, 8. Even though it's one trade idea, I still count it as a trade individually because it's a separate transaction. 8, 9. So 9 trades. Okay. So let me know how you did. If you're looking to take any trades going into fourth shift, the likelihood is you're going to continue the same thing is going to continue to happen. Right? So if you're looking for a miraculous reversal, or if you're looking to catch more profits or cushion your profits, if you're able to extract profits out of here, more than likely you're going to give back some of those profits. If you're looking to go from light green to break even, if you're looking to go from light red to break even, or go from deep red to light green, you're more than likely going to do more harm than good if the conditions continue to be like this. So it's a good idea to just stop, accept the day, see how many trades you took, are you within your risk, and just let the market have today. All right, just give it to the market. Just say, hey, you know what? You can have it today. You got me today. Right? You don't have to take a significant loss or be in deep drawdown to come to that admission. Okay? So we got to know when to put up a fight and when to just say, hey, you know what? We got 5 rounds. There's a 5-round fight. Today's round 2. We still have 3 rounds. Okay? So we still have 3 rounds. So going into tomorrow, the primary thing I'm going to pay attention to is, or going into the close, the primary thing I'm going to pay attention to is which side of that daily open are we going to close on? Are we going to close above that daily open, below that daily open? That daily open is at 593.11. Keep in mind on the hourly intraday, we're still in an uptrend. Okay, the uptrend is still intact. We're just in this really strange place in the middle of the channel. Right. We do have this downward compression there, I can see, but in the middle of the channel, we have no catalyst. So this just might be a day where we're just trading between that 9, that 20, and above that 50. That's pretty much what's been happening. Okay, so going into tomorrow or going to the end of the day, what side of that daily open are we going to close? on the daily, if we zoom out, like let me ask, what do you see on the daily? What kind of candle do we have on the daily? If we just continue to accumulate on the day, this might be a good thing for tomorrow. If we can continue to accumulate on the day, this might be a good thing for tomorrow, because tomorrow, if we break that accumulation, we can see a nice move to the upside. Similarly to what we saw here on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we went 2-1, 2-1, 3. So we took out the lows, took out the highs. So let's see if we go 3-1, we stay inside this range. 3-1-2 to the upside, or 3-1-2 to the downside, reversal or continuation. Okay? So for those of you who are looking to trade for the long term and turn this into a career, and are still learning, we're all learning, keep in mind there's going to be days like this. So the things you do on days like this will determine a lot. Okay, so very, very important to understand that. Small put bears. Let's take a look at the indexes. Again, the indexes are pretty much stuck, right? No moves. Are we going lower? We can go lower. We can go higher. It's hard to really. So I'll rephrase that question. If you say, are we going to go higher in the next 10 minutes, 5 minutes, by the end of the day, by the end of the week, right? So the lower higher is relative to time. So it just depends. So from a technical standpoint, we are technically lower because we're below that daily open. From a price action standpoint, we are higher than where we were from 12:25, from 10 minutes ago. All right, so if we can get above that 593.11, that daily open, maybe we can go higher. If we can't get above it, maybe we go lower. All right, so it's really hard to tell. Really, really hard to tell. Red today, too much chop, walk away. Need to figure out how to finish the month strong. May was filled with red days. Yeah. So the thing is, Ryan. So right now, I think you joined yesterday, a couple of days ago. So make that your day one. Make that your day one, and start measuring from that standpoint. And we're all the way we approach it is we try to have those green weeks. Of course, our goal is to be green on the month, be green on the quarter, be green on the year. But before we even do that, we have to string together some green weeks. Once we can string together a green week, and we know what we did to achieve that green week, we essentially refine the things we did that week. We rinse, we repeat. It's like you have a working system. All you need to do is keep it operational, right? Just keep it operational. So if you can try to lock in this week green, focus on this week green, focus on the inputs, the process, the kind of trades you're taking, how you're managing risk. If you're taking profits, focus on those things and try to close this week green. If you can do that, you have a good chance of closing the month green, the month of May green. But if you're deep in drawdown for the month, right, maybe your chance is June. Okay, so sometimes the drawdown can be so hefty to the point where we don't have enough time. So when we don't have enough time, you don't want to create that unnecessary pressure on yourself to be green by the month. It's almost like this. Say you're red on the week. Okay, say you're red on the week. Your goal is to be green by the end of the week, and it's Thursday. It's Thursday afternoon. Right? You still can be green on the week even though it's Thursday afternoon, but you're putting a time constraint on yourself and unnecessary pressure. So the best bet is See if you can land yourself as closest to green as possible by doing the right things, or even be break even, or even be less red. Try to climb out of drawdown and build on those habits, build on those things you're working on, and roll that over into the next week, into the next month, so on and so forth. Right? That would be the best approach, but it's very doable, Ryan. Okay, so stick with it. Make sure you're taking profits where you need to. Make sure you're managing risk accordingly. We're seeing a nice breakdown off those lows, nice pump above that 592.82. Okay, and you'll be well on your way. So we got to play the long game. We got to play the long game. Exit from puts. Great job on the exit, Vinkat. So we're seeing this pump right here. That pump coincides with that break at that 1792. Okay, if you took that pump to the upside, great job. Again, these conditions, very easy to overtrade. So do yourself a favor and see how many trades you took up until this point. You should have a range of the amount of trades you take in a day. Right. I like to take between 3 to 5 trades. 3 to 5 trades is my sweet spot. Anything beyond 5, when I get into 6, when I get into 7, right? I'm on the high end. I'm on the edge of the curve, like standard deviation. So I'm on the edge. So I'm taking one trade all day. I'm on the low side. So I want to be between that 3 to 5. That's that healthy range for myself. So let me know if that helps a little bit, Ryan. And you'll be there. You'll be there. Stick with the process. You'll be there. But great job on managing risk. Okay, we're above VWAP 1. Put in the chat. Do you think we're going to break this? Do we have a shot to break this, or is this a trap? Trap or break? What are we looking at, guys? Trap or break? So I have no horse in the race. I'm just observing. I'm on observation mode. I want to see how this plays out. Okay. We can see we're wicking aggressively. If you do play breaks, you know the approach. The approach is, okay, you have that break. Maybe use that VWAP as your risk. That's the approach. And that's about a 23-cent break if you do play that break. So the question is, do you take the break and hold? Do you take the retest? What do you apply? If you play the trap. Okay, so you can probably push it into these highs up here. About 32-cent risk. You have room back into the 592.82. So it looks like if we get back below that VWAP 593.09, if we get back below it and get back below that 593.02, this will turn to a trap. If we can stay above that VWAP, get a nice strong candle above it, will more than likely be a break. So let's see, moment of decision here. Let's see. We got a break, trap. So we're above VWAP 1. We're above that daily open. I remember that daily open. Above that daily open. If we can stay above that 593.11, that'll give the bulls some confidence. VIX continues to dump. Has room into 1786. It's below 1786. Or right at 1786. Okay, we're starting to push higher above that. So in this, look, let me ask you in the chat. Let's ask in the chat. If you're playing this break, how would you navigate this break? Right, I can tell you my approach. Right? If you're playing this break, are you going to play the break plainly, or are you going to look for something in the lower time frame that supports an entry for that break? So if I'm looking to play that break, the way I would approach it is this reclaim with that daily open, potential retest, and that bounce. So hold above it, retest the bounce, more than likely take some profits there, and then play that break with that runner. That's the way I would approach it. So when you see these breaks on the higher time frame, laser in. Zoom into the lower time frames and see if you can get some sort of price action combinations or some entry models you may have that allow you to take advantage of it rather than just taking a higher time frame entry. Okay. Anyone waiting for this break up here or that reclaim of that 15-minute orb in that BOG? Yeah, I'm not touching it either. I'm done for the day. So great job. Most of you said break, so great job. So now do the mental exercise. Where are you taking profits? If you broke it, are you going to take profits now? Are you going to hold? So just imagine yourself being in the trade. What's the approach you apply? What's the logic you use? Again, guys, make sure to like on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Nice reclaim. Right here, retest was beautiful out that daily open key level. And we continue to push higher. So let's see if we get consecutive candles. 2 5-minute consecutive candles above that level. So we're getting close to the end of the episode, guys. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an awesome day, another session. Another great opportunity for us to take advantage of the best opportunities that are available. And again, if you haven't already, make sure to join the Discord, take advantage of the May offer. I would say the worst trade of the day was right here. Right, as soon as I entered, probably the fastest stop out I've had during our live show. Less than 10 seconds. So go back to 9:38 on the video and see how quickly I got stopped out there. Less than 10 seconds. Okay? Probably the best opportunity was right here, that slide. Slide to the downside was nice. That retest was nice there. This quick 11% was nice there. Okay? So opportunities were there. There was a few opportunities, but the primary thing is just the risk management and the taking profits were what separated you. If you're a green, if you're a red, and which end of the spectrum you landed on, right? Of course, every single trade can't work out, so those lead to natural stop outs. But the trades that do work out, if you don't take profit, you still end up being red. So don't let those things happen, guys. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up here. Again, going into the close, I want to see our power hour and beyond. I want to see where we close in relation to this daily open. The VIX is completely breaking down. So where is the landing spot for the VIX? All right, and the VIX, landing spot for the VIX. We have room all the way into that 1719 territory, 1716. Right. So basically giving back everything we saw during the Moody's downgrade. Moody's downgrade, huge pump. Now we're basically going back to where we were previously. Okay, so hopefully you guys found benefit from this, aside from the trades themselves. Okay, hopefully everyone took something from today's episode. Got some back on that call. Still right, like Red, great job. You took it on that reclaim, that retest over there. Censure, great job on taking these trades, guys. Okay, so great job. Now I would advise that everyone kind of just see where they are, see how comfortable they are, try to get a measure of their mental capital. Trust me, you don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to you don't want to run out of mental capital on Wednesday. This is still early on the week. So if this exhausted you mentally, right, don't let that exhaustion carry on until tomorrow, carry on to Thursday and Friday. Our objective is to conquer this week. Okay, so don't forget, don't let this be, it was a tough session, but don't let it take everything you have mentally. Okay? So we're going to wrap up here, guys, on YouTube. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to jump in the Discord. I will go over one more time. Right, you get access to a ton of things in the Discord. You get access to the high win rate trade ideas. A ton of members are finding success. The longer they stay, the longer they find, the more success they find, and profitability is all within you. It's not something that I'm doing that's gonna make you profitable. It's just the things inside of you, along with the resources available, along with the mindset and psychology that's provided. It allows you to bring out the profitable trader within you. So make sure to join the Discord, take advantage of all these resources. And if you are in the Discord, do me a favor and leave a rating, okay? So thank you to Andrew for the rating, and leave whatever you want to leave. Just base it on your experience, okay? So there's a few people that are on the fence, and they're missing out, okay? So let's do that, guys. And by the end of the day, going into the power hour, by the close, the primary thing I'll pay attention to is above. Do we close above that 593.11 or below that 593.11? That's the main thing. Intraday time frame, intraday trend is still intact. VIX is collapsing, giving back all those gains from the downgrade. Messy price action. Hopefully things will start cleaning up tomorrow, but I can't promise you that. We have we're in the middle of the desert. I'm in the desert analogy. We're in the middle of the desert. All right, that's what we talked about in the weekly recap. Okay, so I can't promise that price action is going to clean up tomorrow. So we might see similar thing to today, same kind of game maybe, and then starts cleaning up on Thursday with some data. Right. But we'll see. Whatever they throw at us, we should be able to digest. We should be able to adapt and come up with a plan. Thanks, Joe, for the community. I've been working on not just jumping in trades, and the chat room helps a lot. Able to talk with people watching the manipulation too. Absolutely. That's the biggest benefit, guys. The biggest benefit is not just the trade ideas. It's the fact you're around other traders who are dedicated to the process. Okay? Process over profits, process over everything. Okay? That's the most important thing. Refine the process. And you can see in the chat, most people didn't take any trades because they're focused on the process. Nothing met the criteria. So you're not seeing people blow up accounts. Okay? Today's a day where a lot of traders, if you're trading alone, if you're not in a group, you're going to blow up an account. Okay? The old version of me would probably blow an account today. Getting frustrated, getting overwhelmed, being susceptible to all the traps, over trading, revenge trading, FOMO. This is a day for accounts to get blown. Okay, so very, very important. That's what we emphasize. All right. So make sure to like the video on your way out on YouTube. If you have any comments in the Discord, drop your comments, any questions on Google Meets. I'll hang out for a few minutes in there before I wrap up, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay? So have a great rest of your day, guys, on YouTube. Stay safe. Click the link in the description to join. Unlock consistent profitability today. Take advantage of the sale. And God bless.